welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I am the Dude79, and joining me always, the world's biggest piece of shit, and my super awesome colleague, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, don't fucking care. But we are joined by somebody who is very much a great person.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm going that far.
I definitely wouldn't go that far.
This show has been elevated greatly because of your presence, because you make up for his end.
Oh, well, yeah, but we could also
I mean,
put
that
like
goes without saying. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But welcome, Drasten of the 7 Dungeons.
Yeah. Thanks for having
D&D
me
stream, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
every Monday, just about.
Right here on Twitch. Welcome, my man.
I am happy to be here, finally. Talked about it for a while, but it worked out, so I'm excited.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we consider you a friend, but the real reason you're here is this.
Yeah, we needed more of this.
This is the reason that we're bringing you on. We don't give a shit about your opinions on anything.
Nothing else. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're one of the top 3 sexiest DMs out there, but this is why you're here, my dude. What are we drinking? What are we drinking?
This is Ginger Dead Man, my second homebrew beer. It's an amber ale spiced with home mixed gingerbread spice.
It is glorious.
Now, we had this about a month or so ago, I believe it was last on the show, or maybe a month and a half, whatever it was. But instantly it was like, yeah, wow, this is really good. And then he's like, well, I'm coming up. I'll bring up some more. I'm like, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Please.
How long have you been like brewing beers?
So I think I picked it up in September of last year.
Okay.
And I did my first one, which was, God, I've already forgotten.
The Jackal Holder?
Jackal Holder.
Jesus.
Yeah, thank you.
He knows.
Sorry.
Jeez.
It did not turn out. Well, it did.
Oh no, what happened to it?
The flavor was good. It did not carbonate. It was flat, and it was probably about 15% alcohol. It basically turned into a wine. Flavor was good, but
okay, so not a total loss.
yeah. So we're kind of tossing some names around for the next one. I've got a chocolate peanut butter porter coming that I'm going to squirt some raspberry into.
I'm gonna squirt drinking it.
Yeah, I hope so. So I'll be bottling that tomorrow.
Really excited.
That sounds
Yeah.
fucking hot.
I've tried to find a way to somehow integrate myself into that naming process. So
Yeah, and I think we've got one.
I think we've gotten one or two here.
Yeah,
maybe.
we've got some names, but I'll be bringing some up when we come up for Midland Mall Comic Con.
Yes.
It'll be bottled. It'll be probably still a little flat, but drinkable.
No, dude, we're excited. Actually, we wanted to bring that up. Drasten and some of his crew will actually be at the Midland Mall Comic Con as well. You'll be running some D&D sessions.
We will. I've got Sikorsky Jr. that's in the chat right now, and you'll know him as Grayson from the campaign.
Yes.
He was when I came to Ohio. He was my first DM here. We actually met in a comic store.
Oh, really?
Here.
I
Yep.
thought you were going to say like a glory hole party or something.
No,
like that. But
no,
no,
I mean,
that's
yeah.
cool too. That's cool too.
Yeah, it was kind of a friend of a friend situation, and we got really close. And now he's in the campaign, and he's a fantastic DM.
Yeah.
And I already know what he's going to be doing for the time.
Oh, see?
This
Oh.
happens when I'm working out too.
It's working out. Yeah. Beefcake.
His stuff's going to be really good. I already know what he's working on. Whoever's at his table is going to really enjoy that.
So I have some questions about this, man, because it's always been something that I've been curious about. Now, first of all, let's get into your background. How long have you been into D&D?
Well, it's kind of a checkered past.
Sure.
And it's a whole show in itself, because growing up in the 90s in a very conservative town, we lived through the Satanic Panic, which, if you don't know what that is, go to YouTube, type in Satanic Panic. There's some great videos of the stuff that happened, and it definitely happened to us. So we used to play, everybody get together, and 9 times out of 10, you never made it out of the tavern because everybody was just, I mean, you didn't take it real seriously.
Right.
I had a campaign that went going for a while, started moving and everything. But it wasn't until I got back into it was when I went to that comic store. We were just playing games that night. It was a game night. And Mike Grayson, he's like, he had wanted to start a campaign going.
Right.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I freaking love D&D. So let's do it. And it just got into that. Our first group kind of fell through. And we started up this second one as a one-shot 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So this campaign's been going 3 years.
Oh, 3 years?
So we beat the spread because most groups fall apart. Like, I think they say like 10% make it from like 1 to 20.
Oh, really?
And here we are. The guys are, I think, level 15 now. So we'll be finishing this year, and then we'll be looking at campaign 2.
Now, you mentioned these campaigns. Now, I've always been curious. Now, as a dungeon master, are you responsible for creating the campaign, or do you go based off like the books and that stuff? Like, how do you craft a campaign as a DM? Like, what all goes into that?
So they have adventure modules, and anybody that's looking to get into this and do the DMing part, I highly recommend doing the adventure modules because you pay $15-$20, and that's going to give you monsters, settings, backgrounds, everything. So you still have to do prep.
And it also gives you kind of a starting point.
It does. It does. Because and Waterdeep's a good one. It was done. Matt Mercer worked with that one. Curse of Strahd, I would stay away from that one as your first one. It's just like Tomb of Annihilation and some of these others. But there are about 30 of them out there. Pick them up.
Oh, really?
This campaign, I've written the entire thing. So everything that people see online, I spend every Sunday spending hours writing and putting.
Do you draw your
in.
inspiration from the actual source material? Like, how do you do that? That's got to take up so much time.
It does, and a lot of it comes from. I'll watch a show and that'll inspire me about something, and then I'll put it in there. And as long as I can get the story point, and then I bounce a lot of stuff off of Tone. He's one of my creative directors, is what we call him. And I'll just be like, "Hey, man, I was thinking about this," and he's like, "Yeah, but what about this, and this?"
Did you not know that?
Oh, and I'm almost. It sounds made up, but go ahead. Continue.
No, literally on Sundays and stuff like that. Like a lot of Sundays, he'll bounce stuff off of me, and then like because I used to DM a lot years ago. I played a lot of D, so like. We'll bounce some stuff back and forth, and I'll say something. He'll be like, "What about this?" I'm like, "Yeah, do this and then this." And he's like, "Well, do that and then this." So we'll like build this stuff off together, and then some stuff he'll use, some stuff he won't. But it's kind of like a sometimes just take my input.
So yeah, once I start writing, a lot of times I'll take.
I knew that.
One of my friends, Contango, he told me about this. It was a humble bundle. There was like 700 DRM free songs that you got for like $5.
Are they all based around like D&D?
Yeah,
like
it's all fantasy music.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll pick one of those songs and I'll listen to it while I'm writing, and it'll start flowing these like emotions through me. So I just start going and going and
That's
going
like
and going.
your inspiration.
Yeah.
Music. Okay.
And then you're just super focused, and then my team of players, you just then have to react to them. So like not everything is scripted. A lot of people are like, "Hey, is that all scripted?" No, I give them nothing, much to their detriment.
But I mean, I think it's also a testament to their ability, to get, working with, not as much as you would think.
Oh yeah, and if you go back and like watch our really early stuff, which I'm sorry, it's out there on YouTube, but it's really rough. it's really rough. But where my players have come from that starting point, I mean, me and Mike have played for a long time. So Grayson and Scar before that, he was fantastic at the role playing. But the Blaylock, he came along really quickly with the role playing. And then Zoramir, this is a guy that in our first session in combat, he's like, "Is there any furniture in the room?" We're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hide under the table." So we were like, "What? This isn't, you're not even doing this right." And now he's had this really emotional arc where he lost his brother and there was this burial and all this stuff that's going on. And that has really, really driven it forward. So it's so much fun.
It's really in the best way to put it is that you have like almost like this backdrop, this idea of a story, and you got to get to point A, point C, but you let the players kind of fill in B for the most part. And as a DM, you can kind of funnel if you need to. There's certain things you could do. You've obviously had the power, but the best is just letting them kind of ride through the conversations. And like you said, like people will ask if it's scripted, but it's kind of flows. And we'll talk about Vox Machina later, but that's just kind of how like that entire thing that they did was just like same thing. Like they've got an idea, and then it just kind of the characters kind of carry through it. So.
One of the things people don't realize about what we're watching on Vox Machina when we get there is this is Percy's backstory. This is nothing to do with, a small tiny part of it had something to do with Mercer's overarching story, but this was Percy as a player taking his backstory and pouring emotion into it, and it led to what we saw, which is just
That's actually one of the things we'll talk about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we get to that, is I love Percival's arc in this show.
It's
It was
wonderful.
so good. It was so good. But so like you guys have been doing this for a long time, and you talk about, I haven't seen the older videos that you talk about on YouTube, but man, when I do tune in and I do check it out, I mean the passion that's involved, production value, the voices, I mean everything. You got the music in the background, you got everything. It's just a well done production, but it's genuine. You know what I'm saying? When everyone's putting all their effort into it, and the conversations and the sacrifices and everything that their characters make and whatnot, it's just so compelling. Like you're like, man, it's really good. It's one of those things where I enjoy it when I put it on and I can actually just listen to it. I'll be working on some stuff and you're listening to it. And it's kind of like it's almost like I'll listen to an audiobook.
It is.
Like you're listening to all these characters converse and they're talking about stuff about how they're going to approach the situation, the strategy and all that shit involved. It's compelling stuff.
I remember like when we did the Lenoris Vey arc, which was the underground elven city that was there, and Zormir lost his brother, and everything. I really play into the emotion. Like I love that part of it, because that's the role playing is definitely my combat. Awful to me,
right?
It's because for me it's all mechanics. It's like balancing all this stuff, grabbing all this stuff. Oh wow!
Yeah. Oh, well, hello there.
There it is. There
thank
it is.
you, Love Face. We appreciate you. Make sure if you're going to be on YouTube that you hit that subscribe, and mash that bell too. If you're going to be at it, I'm sure we'll check out your sweet clothing line soon.
There we go. I was counting on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
So what happened with his brother is once his brother died, it got very solemn in there. And I clicked a song, and I wasn't even sure which song it was, because at that time I didn't have them really sorted out. So I was just listening for the first few notes to see if it sounded somber.
Bagpipes.
Well, it got into this, and it was like a song in French about loss. And it was just like, it hit me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm letting this roll. And I'm just letting it roll. And when we got done, Arlo, like, we always have a post session where we kind of talk about this stuff, which is very important. If you're ever playing D&D, after the session, have a post session, because sometimes there's emotions that flare up, anger, and people don't realize it's the characters and not the person, and just kind of, talk it out, make sure it's cool. But like Arlo was like, he's like, dude, I was welling up, like I was getting like all these thoughts were going through my head and all this stuff, and I just freaking feed on this stuff.
Like in that's, I know you guys have had a lot of success, of course, just generally. I mean, you started on Mixer.
Yep.
Move over to Twitch. And
I didn't want to start, by the way. That was not something I wanted to do.
What?
To stream at all.
Oh, why did you start streaming?
Yeah, because Tone forced me into it.
Hey, he's like that. He's a piece of shit like that.
Well, because you had, some other people on Mixer, one guy in particular, who was the main guy that did tabletop and D&D, and tons of viewership, and I'm like, dude, and I think I'd seen some of the Critical Role doing some streaming as well too at the time.
Yeah.
And I told you straight up, I'm like, there's a market for this, that people out there want to be involved in these sort of things and see these in D&D and stories. And lo and behold, you're here doing this for as long as you have. And like, for instance, if you don't always have time to catch them live, you guys are on Spotify, and you guys recently just had a milestone.
We just broke 1,000 listens.
That's exciting.
Oh shit, yeah, baby.
Yeah, exciting.
We just started putting that out there, I think, in like June of last year.
And why'd you start doing that?
I love how Tone has all this ambition as a creative director, and I'm like, Tone, what should we do for our show? He's like, I don't know, fart into the microphone. Can you add a fart sound to the soundboard? I'm like, that's all I get from Tone. He's your creative director, or one of them, and all I can get is, can you add farting to the soundboard?
Where is the farting, by the way?
For Christ's sakes.
So yeah, he did like, because my thought was like, nobody wants to listen to me. I mean, I don't want to listen to
I
me.
don't. Yeah.
For 3.
I'll listen to those sultry baritones any day.
So when we did this one shot and it started going, and then I brought it to the guys. I'm like, guys, we've had some interest in us doing this online, and they're like, sure, whatever. Since then, oh my God, I never thought I would get into the community so much. Like, I love the community, getting involved, and like, there was a whole thing, Save Zormir movement that was going on during his. That was an arc started by the players, by the way. I had nothing written up. Nothing.
Really?
And this time, Grayson's like, he catches him talking to himself at this one moment at the campfire, and it sparked this like 5-session story. And I'm scrambling in my head, like, okay, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to do this? And I would say something, and then I'd be like writing it down in my notes to work to expound the story later of how that's going to happen or what they need to do. But the way the communities come in, and then we added the channel points for like the buffs. I mean, they've kept my players alive.
Yeah, if you're able to catch you guys live, that it is interactive. You save up some channel points, you can have really a hand in keeping these guys alive or being a part of the story as well.
Zoramir would definitely be dead without the community.
Divine influence sometimes is really detrimental sometimes to the survivability of the characters.
But I see we do it. Grayson's here, and I see Blaylock here.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to some of you guys. I know it's Saturday. We appreciate you guys being here midday.
Yes.
We've gone through a lot of comments. I saw Brian out there, seen a lot of the regulars, y'all. It's good to have you as always. Appreciate you guys being able to stop through. I know you guys already had some fun stuff to say, but
I want to ask this question really quick,
yeah.
Jay, before it keeps going further. Jay Hill asks, are a lot of D&D players into acting, or were they into acting? Because obviously, they're doing voices and they're getting into these roles to make it compelling.
I would say not really. I mean, I think it helps. If you have a theater background, that may draw you to D&D.
Sure. Like attention.
But I think it's, and they're actually doing studies now. Of course, growing up during the Satanic Panic, it was very discouraged because D&D made you summon devils and kill your parents or whatever.
Or kill yourself if your character died.
Yeah.
That a thing?
That was really
that was the first thing I heard from my mom when I wanted to play D&D.
If their character died, they off themselves in real life.
That was her concern.
There was a guy who did religious pamphlets that did a pamphlet of one where that happened, and then they turned it into a movie.
I did not know.
And it was so unrealistic because it was like all the popular kids in school played D&D, and it was like jocks and stuff, and everybody were like cheering, and I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering also went through some of that shit too.
They did.
I went through that in the 90s as well too. So yeah, definitely all that stuff. And I that's for what Jay Hill asked too. I think more than anything, I would say, to be fair, 9 chances out of 10, what D&D does for people is it helps introverts and people who normally aren't sociable, is put a armor on, which is their character, play somebody who they're not, and it can kind of, I guess in some way, kind of really help bring them out of their shell like that. So I would say more often than not, it's just people doing something different or playing a game or whatever, just trying to be able to be somebody else that they might not feel always comfortable in certain situations, but when they're playing their character, that kind of changes that dynamic. So
Cuddle says that is what whiskey does for me.
Right. There's a lot of things that whiskey does to you, dude.
I mean, like, I'm actually a really big introvert. Like, I don't do well in social settings. I force myself to do well, but D&D helps me. I relax. And I've always loved doing stupid voices.
Are we going to get Leo? Are you going to do Leo for us?
Well, what we got here, Blaylock right now, he's going to, he's really upset because, you never know when he's going to need to upgrade that staff.
See, there we
I would
go.
have sex with Leo.
And see, like,
or
you can,
Me so good, more, love Banter and Babble. Lots of fun.
Oh, can you say,
stupid.
I'll think of something. Go ahead.
Stupid fat hobbits is always eating your rabbits.
and they may all sound the same. I don't freaking care. I have fun doing them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I did pick up the voice mod software to kind of help with that.
What does that do?
It allows you, it's integrated right into like Elgato and all the cool stuff we use to stream.
Really?
It allows me to change my voice, add echoes, deepen it, and all these things. Voice mod.
What do you use that on?
That's the name of the software.
Elgato, he said.
No, it's all linked into the Elgato stream.
The Stream Deck. Where'd you get the Stream Deck?
Jesus Christ.
Does he just want? He wants a hand job for everything, dude.
Yeah, excuse me while I think Tom. What the hell?
Well,
Are you happy now?
Yeah, I am.
It's so awesome what you guys do, and like I said, again, it's all about the camaraderie. It's all about the chemistry. I mean, that's also a huge part of everything. Like this is chemistry. And obviously, you guys have been doing this for a long time, and you guys understand one another, and you guys play off one another real well. And it's
trick.
It goes back to how genuine it is, and when it's genuine, that's what draws people in, because that's where like, fuck, I want to see what happens next with these guys. How like did it take a while for you guys to discover that rapport, or was it almost like instant?
Well, so Blaylock I work with, so he was one of the guys that works for our company. Zoramir was too. He doesn't anymore, and so some of that was kind of already there. We all play games together normally. Sure. But in character, everybody's different. So, and to them, I'm the cruel taskmaster of the story. And everything I do is something evil or dark. I can't do anything innocent in my games anymore because they're like, no, they're an evil monster in disguise now. They have such like PTSD of from the story. It's I mean, I remember a guy, and I want to strangle my guys all the time. His name was Burr and Patch, and they call him Burn Patch, and they do that just to piss me off.
Yeah.
And then they wonder like why we summon dragons to eat them, you know?
right. Oh shit. Half-ass, who is probably still at Disney of some sort.
Oh shit, man! Look, he's at Disney. He's like, I'd rather watch.
Have you seen those pictures at all?
Oh yeah,
dude.
Oh yeah.
But all in all, like going from this, when we started doing the one shot, this was Blaylock's first time playing. It was Zoromir's first time playing. Now Blaylock DMs for groups of friends of ours, and he does some in his local community as well. So he's gone from never playing to DMing. Right. Zoromir has DM'd a one shot for us because we get together in person once a year and just off the cameras and have fun.
Right.
Lets me be a character. Of course, Mike does that. And we're starting to record some of those. Got Blaylock's first adventure up on YouTube now.
That is fucking sweet. No, obviously at Midland Comic Con, we can't do a full-on D&D session. No. How are you going, like, how do you do a session in that kind of setting where you have, like I think you have, like, time slots, don't you? Like 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. How's it going to work?
We've got some time slots set up. What we do is basically close our eyes and pray and make a bunch of shit.
That's sweet.
Yeah, because
good time.
You got an hour to take 4 to 5 people and build a story. There's actually a thought process in the D&D community for DMs, and it's called the 5-room dungeon. So basically, you introduce the characters that already know each other. They enter a dungeon through a quick role play. They deal with a trap, a monster, a puzzle, and then like an end encounter, and it's over. And you should be able to squeeze that into a small time frame. But that depends on people, because I mean,
if they're new, or if they're new, if they're maybe they're an introvert as well, and they don't know how to like react in these situations. You put them on the spot. Or like, what are you gonna do here? It's just like,
if you get an extrovert who wants to like totally like go off the rails and stuff like that, you might not even get through all 5. Right. That's the fun part about it with those kind of like those little small one shots. Is like you really have no idea where it's gonna go.
We're going to take the hard part out. We've already got a video up of like how to roll up a character. We did that last year sometime. But we're going to pre-roll everybody's characters. You're going to come up. We're going to give you a sheet. You can put your name on it to make it your character. When you leave, take it with you and continue the story at home.
That's fucking sweet. Oh, that's going to be really good. That's going to be really, really good. It's me, Liggy. Look at these guys. Hey, no. You.
Look at you.
Look at you. No, really excited for that, man. I'm hoping to get a break from when we're streaming B&B there to hop over and maybe jump into a session with you and and get into it. I just want to be a drunken orc. Can I be a drunken orc?
Sure.
Yeah, Zach.
Why not? I mean, what's different than normal, right?
That's it's easy.
Oh
I
yeah,
can just slip into that character.
I know.
Method acting.
Cherry is coming by.
And shit, Cherry!
Yeah, get in on her.
Cherry got an Airbnb. She can
Oh my gosh! I think what Airbnb is it gonna be at? Because I can make sure that they play. This is the end. Put that on. Make sure that's playing in the room. We got you covered on that.
See, look at that Blaylock putting burn patch on.
I'm just gonna say Cherry Squishy's canceled her reservation at Bay City and fuck you. Oh, come on, Cherry.
Oh, it is Toxic. What up, dude? That's right. I forgot. I knew I recognized that name.
Oh shit! Oh, it's a toxic monster. Oh shit! Dude, I like it.
Tell your kiddo I said happy birthday.
Oh, happy B-Day!
Yeah, we got a kiddo out there. It's got his little one's got.
Dude's going to get hammered and come over and flip a table. Probably. There's a high probability of that.
A lot of table flipping.
Speaking of boozing, though, should we plan something for after Saturday?
I probably imagine after at least Saturday.
Yeah, man, go to a bar or something nearby and
I mean,
a couple beers.
We might not want to stick around in Midland because it might be busy because of the Comic-Con. But we might want to find something near. But we'll have to plan something. We got a couple weeks here. We'll figure something out.
We have 2 weeks.
Oracle.
Whatever.
Not this weekend, but the following weekend. Cuddles is the prize.
Yeah, Cuddles is
always the prize.
Yeah.
But no, man, we're happy you're here. We're happy that you brought again, this is the reason you're here. I mean, if you didn't make beer, you probably wouldn't be here.
It's a new hobby. Like, my wife would probably love it if I would just stop getting into hobbies. Because if those that know me personally, I have a very addictive personality. Thank God I didn't get anything bad in my life. But
Yeah.
I mean, besides D&D and just gaming in general, which is a natural problem, and I think Tone will tell you, I have an issue when it comes to buying selections of beer. I got into brewing. I do 3D printing, all that kind of stuff, and I just love all this stuff. So
Mhm.
it was something I always wanted to do.
I got my boy over there. That thing is fucking awesome, dude.
Oh, the little dude.
Yep, the dude,
yeah,
man.
Cappadocian
Little dude.
3D printed him. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
That thing is so dope.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. Love it.
So yeah, I actually started printing it's Don. I don't know if I ever sent you a Death Trooper helmet. It's
Really?
wearable. Never finished. I got to sand it and paint it.
I mean, I've always been curious about that 3D.
It's
don't-
so easy now. You
Is it
can
really?
get my printer was on sale recently for $99.
Really?
$99.
Dude, when I see stuff like that, I'm thinking it's probably like, what, $500 machine?
You can get going with good filament for under $250 now.
Wow.
It's insane. It's
It
insane.
was just gonna keep getting cheaper.
It just keeps getting cheaper and better. Well, in fact, Stormare, like business he works in, 3D printing, crazy.
Wild. No, man, we're happy you're here. We'll have a lot of D&D stuff to talk about later in the show when we get to Vox Machina and a couple other things. But first up, we got a topic. We got multiple topics to talk about today. We got a show to do. Tone, did we hit on everything? Oh no, what the fuck have you been playing?
Well, it's I'm 117 hours into Trails of Cold Steel, and I did boot up about 30 minutes of Horizon Forbidden West.
It's kind of a pretty game.
That's a really pretty game. We just kind of messed around with it this morning just to kind of look at it, check out the flora and fauna. Gorgeous fucking game. So yeah, I really haven't been just grinding away trying to get that Trails done.
I started
We'll
it
be
up
done soon.
yesterday. I'm gonna stream it Monday night. I started it up yesterday, and I had to stop myself. I was like, I don't want to get too far ahead because
Right.
then you want to track back and do it again. So I haven't even gotten to the title screen. I know I stopped it where I was. I was like, okay. I haven't hit the title screen,
Yeah.
but dude, it's a beautiful looking game.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful
It's
fucking looking game.
Gorgeous. From like we were talking about how like the plants, there's like a mist in the air and you can see it land plants and everything.
Yes.
I mean, they have really put some time into just
Mhm.
I can't wait to see the big fights.
They did take care of one of the critiques. There's been a couple critiques that Gorilla did actually take care of, and was the facial expressions being so like dead face, like deadpan face,
Yeah.
and like now you see like movement and all over
Oh, like muscles and
Yeah,
everything.
like I
Yeah,
noticed
yeah.
that right away
Yeah.
because they were talking about how they did change that, and right away, like with the first two characters, Alloy and what's his name, you could just
Arl, yeah.
Yeah.
No, one of the thing that I did get to that I didn't know it was gonna be this early, but the serpent, the snake.
Oh, see, I'm not. Yeah,
We
I
didn't
just
even
didn't
Dude,
get that
you
far
bump
yet.
into a serpent early on, and it's just,
Sweet.
dude, it's so amazing to watch that thing in motion, and it's a beautiful looking game. So, well, I had to cut it off there, but I'll be back into it on Monday night for
Monday.
the story time with the dude. So I'm looking forward to jumping back into that.
Thank you,
But,
Brian.
I actually went a little bit crazy this week. I finished Dying Light 2, the main storyline. There's still
Oh yeah,
a
you
lot.
did.
There's still a lot to do in that game, like in terms of like side quests and freeing up parts of the city. But it's a really, really good story. That is seriously again a fantastic game. Much like the first one, I'm just a huge fan of what Techland has done with Dying Light 2. The improvements they made along the way. It's really, really great. It's me, Liggy. I'm about 10 to 50. Dude, it's Liggy. It gets awesome. I don't know if you've gotten to the second island, but it's fun. Good fun game. Shut off to it. Oh, it really is. I mean, the parkour and everything in that game is so
Mhm,
good, and
mhm.
especially as you're unlocking more of the skill tree, the abilities that you get are they're game changing. Like you really do feel like you're advancing your character when you're unlocking more of the skill tree. Yeah, the second island is where you pick up the paraglider, and come on, Lee, I didn't ruin nothing for you. But it's overall, it's a great game. Like it's really, really good. Paraglide. Oh, that's in the trailer. That's in the trailer, Leggy. You see him flying
There's a
around.
parachute.
Blanco, there's zombies.
They
Sorry.
have a cave troll.
They have a cave troll. No, it's a great game. But then I also started up Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing, man. I have about 10 hours in it right now. The game has not crashed once.
Surprising.
Which is incredible because when it first came out, it crashed like every 10 minutes.
That's when I stopped. Because
That's why I stopped too. I was like, you know what? I know, like, look, what they did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be blunt. CD Projekt Red, they were deceitful in how they released this. They did a very good job. They made an effort to make sure nobody saw the PS4 and Xbox version. It was all about
we
the PC.
remember
They
that.
were
That
very
was old,
deceitful.
yeah.
They were deceitful, and that's not a good look for them. Even for somebody like CD Projekt Red. You know, look, I get it. They made some great games. The Witcher series is renowned, but what they did was really shitty. And when it came out, I was just like, you know what? I know what they're capable of. I don't like what they did here. But I don't want to experience this game as it's crumbling around all around. It's falling down. There's bugs. It's crashing. So I said, fuck it. I'm gonna wait for the next gen version. Here it is, and they released this new patch. It's 1.5. Now I don't know how much they. I'm be curious to what you say.
Mhm.
I don't know how much they changed the perk tree. But especially for the
I'm
stealth
really
elements.
curious.
But I was really digging what I saw. And again, I was able to play for 10 hours. I've seen now maybe 2 graphical glitches, but not once has that game crashed. And it's just like, fucking, okay, is this something I can actually play through now and not be taken out of the experience? Because when it is working, Night City is a fucking awesome place to explore. Like, it's a very immersive
It's a living,
experience.
breathing environment.
living,
Like, it's
breathing city.
crazy.
And it's really, really good. So the game crashed. It did crash. It crashed right off the PlayStation Store because Sony was like, no. But no, I actually started that, and then for some odd reason yesterday, I was on the Xbox and I was like, oh man, I haven't touched Gears 5 in a minute. So I went in there and just played the last 3 or 4 acts and beat that game. I was like, oh cool, I can actually beat that. That's actually a fun game, man. I forgot how fun.
I know.
Gears
I
is,
need to
man.
finish 4 and 5.
Laura Bailey.
Yeah, dude, Laura Bailey in Vox Machina, she's awesome on that show. I love Laura Bailey.
I'll get some comments on those folks later.
I can't wait to get your comment. I saw you play. Yeah, dude. I know. I didn't think I was gonna play that, Carlos. I didn't think I was gonna get into Gears 5 again, and I realized I seen where I was at. And I was like, well, fuck. I'll see how many chapters are left. And I only had like 4 acts left. I was like, well, quick, knock these out and finish it up. It's a fucking entertaining game, man. And it looks really good on the Series X. So, really digging that. But that's what I've been playing, man. But yeah, Monday night I'll be.
Monday night, story time with
Horizon.
Dude.
Yes, sir. Horizon Forbidden West. And yes, for those of you wondering, I will be playing Guardians of the Galaxy tomorrow night to fit that fucking game. Someone screen share a Vox for me. I still have gummies. All right. Let's move on. We've got some topics. So let's get to the first one. This is a movie that Tone's been looking forward to all year since it was been announced.
Announced like what, 3 weeks ago? I don't
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
fucking know.
Available now on Netflix.
You want to know what I don't give a shit about?
Oh boy. What's that, Tom?
Leatherhead.
I don't
The,
know.
the one with Jessica Biel that came out in the mid 2000s, I didn't hate.
That one, after you watch this, you appreciate that one a little bit more.
Agreed. Like, I just, you know, like they say it somewhere. Maybe it was the beginning of this movie or someone in the previews, like, oh, before Jason and Freddy Krueger. You know, you had okay. Well, I get why people enjoyed this because I think it was really one of the early ones of that kind of nature, like the slashery or whatever. But man, oh man.
So yeah, let's talk about Texas
Let's
Chainsaw
do
Massacre. Basically, what this is a movie about some influencers who are like, yo, there's this broke ass town in Texas that it's a ghost town.
Because the world is more broke ass in this town.
Right. And their plan is to purchase it and then create, I think you call it like a utopia, like some kind of like millennial utopia.
There was a slight comment with one of the characters that was actually named in the film. More on that later.
Yeah.
And he named it like, I don't remember what his name was because he was that critical
Dante?
to the story. Yeah, Dontopia or something.
Is
So
that what he called Dantopia?
that's what he called
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I mean, and if we didn't have subtitles on, I wouldn't have caught that. But we had subtitles on.
I didn't know he referred to Dantopia. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
so I'm like, okay, so this has something to do with some utopian society in Texas.
Basically, they just want to create like this woke city. And, you know, it's just like, okay. Immediately watching this movie, like, I hated everybody in this movie.
Oh,
So they did a great job at getting me excited to see these people get pieced out. And thankfully, one of the perks, the plus side, maybe the only plus side of this movie is they didn't pull any punches when it came to the violence.
Right.
This is a somewhat gory flick.
That's
yeah.
the end.
Yeah, but it's ultimately, you guys, this is just a very poorly written movie. It's It's a dumb premise.
Everything about it.
The starting scene was much like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Punk kids at a gas station
Yeah.
making fun of a local hillbilly.
Yep. And
Except that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, they basically started off like as soon as the movie starts, like, we want you to fucking hate these people. I was like, oh, okay. And with the exception
no
of
problem.
Lila, I hated everybody in this movie. Like, everybody. More horror movies nowadays are poorly written gore films. This is no exception, Cherry. Even though I will say they did a great job with the gore.
Yeah.
Like, why did the lady get in the ambulance with the old lady? You don't even know her.
Right.
Lots of questions, Brian.
Hey, let's cover that real quick.
We're gonna talk about this really quick, Brian. It's an interesting. It's great that you brought that up.
Thank you.
What did you notice about this?
So when they're talking in the car, we had Tone always has subtitles on, and I may have to start watching films with subtitles on because you catch things that you wouldn't hear. And when she started speaking, it said girl number 1.
To which he said,
she's the first one going to die. They didn't even honor her with a name
in the subtitles.
Like in the subtitles, it was girl number 1. And all of a sudden, this whatever young girl who knows nobody wasn't even part of the invasion of the home or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to get in the ambulance and go. And it's like, well, we all know where your fate leads you.
Yeah, like, why is she leaving? She doesn't even know this lady. And if the lady's going to the hospital, what is she going to do at the hospital? What is she going to do in this situation?
Maybe the vending machines are stocked.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, that's, and I remember when he was telling this story, I was like, is this like a JRPG? Where, like, you know, a character is introduced and all this is like question mark, and then their lines, and then he's like, I'm so and so, and then boom, the name appears next to it all of a sudden. No, that's not the case. It was just girl number 1.
Right.
Yeah,
and she died. So that's a horrible death.
So I just like the entire time we're watching it, and we're just like plot armors, plot holes. Like, wait, what? Like, for instance, there was a spot where I was like. It was really towards the end where a character kind of comes back and stand there yelling at this whatever Leatherhead in the bedroom with a gun in hand. And that was it. I'm like,
oh, Richter?
What?
No,
whatever. No. The old lady. She was in the house in that room with him.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna finish this.
Why did? And she didn't finish anything. She stood there and yelled at it.
Dude.
Why would you shoot?
There was an awesome meme somebody put online where it said, Sally, do you remember me? Tell me you know my name. Do you remember my friends? And then somebody took a picture of Thanos and put Leatherface over his face and it says, I don't even know who you are.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
No, like this is a movie where they could have taken a legacy character and, you know, they did the poor version of Laurie Strode in the new Halloween movies. You know,
He did say that too.
They look at Sally. They bring her in. Obviously, the actress that played Sally, she has passed away, but they brought in her name escapes me. I think I wrote it down. Owen Fury, who is? Do you remember in the movie Mandy, the old lady that used to help? Yep, that's her.
That's cool.
And you know, she shows up and she's playing the Laurie Strode. She's traumatized, which I love that angle. I love that concept of empowering somebody who's been traumatized and trying to get them to face their fears. I will always like that storyline. I will always love it when they imbue that in some way and use it that way. But it is so fucking fumbled in this movie, and it's just like you've given her absolutely nothing. And then she gets, you know, whatever happens to her, and you're just like, come on, dude, really? I mean, I don't even give a shit if I spoil it. It's just not a well-written movie. And the way they handle a legacy character was a fucking joke. It was really, really bad.
Well, she had superpowers.
Oh, what power is that?
The power of taking a chainsaw.
Super plot armor. The plot armor was so thick for some of the characters, you saw the sparks bouncing off of them when they got
attacked. It was bad.
Yeah.
You know,
like.
But I mean, like seriously, like you said, like the sheriff gets shot in the shoulder and he's basically out of the game. Yeah, he gets shot in the neck and he's out of the game immediately. This lady has her insides rearranged with the chainsaw, yet she's still an integral part of the plot towards the end. You're just like, what is going on right now?
Oh God, yeah.
It's
it's so bad that we're sitting here like before the show and we're talking about it, right? Like, and we're kind of debating if this is the original Leatherface or not, because they don't give you enough story to even go on.
And we tried to sit there and I tried to pull up, well, it's room for interpretation, but then we realized this story is not written for interpretation. It's just really badly written.
It is unbelievable how badly written this was. Like, again, the gore was amazing. Like,
Yes.
some of the kills were like, even I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I want gore all the time, but we got to have some substance. I mean, I know Saw gets a lot of shit. Saws have more substance. Even Spiral had more substance. for
Cuddle's
fuck's
waiting
sake.
for the Snyder cut. I think he'll be all right without
Yeah.
it. It'll take it from 83 minutes to 90 minutes. You get 7 minutes of story. But no, we were talking about like, is this the original Leatherface? And you guys at first were like, oh, we think it is him, but there's an issue with that because of the timeliness. Because obviously Sally is old as fuck in this movie. How is this guy like in his mid 40s? Maybe close to 50. It's like
He'd have to be in, yes.
it doesn't match up. So then my thought was, well, no, this is probably somebody else who's inspired by Leatherface. But then you guys brought up a point, he's banging out the wall to get his chainsaw. Like, well, why is the chainsaw hidden in the wall? How does he know it's there unless he's the regular Leatherface? And then it just occurred to me, it's like, no, this is just really badly written.
Yeah.
There's really no way to figure out who this person is. Now, the only other thing and we shouldn't have to like try to figure this out. If it's like a 2 or 3 hour movie, then okay, there better be a lot of content there for us to discuss. This is 83 minutes. And they do a really shitty job of explaining, who is this guy? And there's an end credit scene where Leatherface or his character is walking towards a house that looks much like the house in the original. So we don't know exactly who this character is. Now, again, I don't know. Obviously, we're set up for a sequel, and I hope not. But the only conclusion I could draw based on all that stuff is that this guy is not the. This movie was so bad. Bruce Willis should have been in it. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong.
Maybe he was in it.
But as bad as this was, this still does not hold a candle to Cosmic Sin.
No.
But going back to the what we're saying is like I don't know I don't know why this is a discussion because this is just a really bad movie. But my thought is that he is a descendant of the family. So he would know, maybe maybe the lady who was running the orphanage, maybe she took in the original Leatherface to harbor him, to hide him or whatever, put his chainsaw on the wall to, keep the evidence out of the way or whatever, and that the kid knew about it at the time, and that's how he knew the chainsaw was there. Because again, if you go back to the age thing, there's no fucking way this guy's the original Leatherface.
I mean,
30, 40 years old.
So he's like 80-something.
Yeah, 80-something. And he looks like he's 30 years younger than Sally. It's like,
old
okay,
man,
something
it's old
is
man
off.
strength,
we never
man.
get. Well, listen. First, like, mom dies or whoever she is, and the first thing he's like, you know what? I better just cut her face off. That's like his first thing.
And I'm gonna plant her in the cornfield holding corn stalks or whatever.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna wear a face. I guess I'm time to get angry. Like, where the I don't know. Like, I can't even believe we're sitting here exerting this energy on this just generally because it's badly written. Now, I'm gonna tell everybody. Clearly, go watch it at the very least.
For the gore.
The gore is at least worth the 80-some minutes. Don't get me wrong. And maybe some of the comedic at this point, just to be able to point out, oh, that's terrible, that's terrible, that's terrible.
There is a scene on a bus that's hilarious, just because you fucking want everyone to die,
right?
Yeah.
But there's
it's
a couple dope kill scenes in that scene too.
Yeah.
But
Only because we thought the movie was over at that point.
yeah, we were hoping. Yeah,
Wait for the credits to run. As it's happening. Yeah.
I just again, I come back to it, and I've been saying this since the pandemic, and I still hold to it that we just want people are just way into consuming brainless content. I'm sure this movie's probably got like high ratings, everybody's enjoying it or something like this, but I just feel like we're at a point where we're sacrificing good substance, content, storytelling for just we've got something new and shiny in our hands. And I find that there's a degree where certain movies, I understand that, like popcorn flicks and certain things, even Marvel films aren't overly like deep into their storytelling and things like that. They do other things to kind of keep us in tune to them and gripping and whatever it is, character development. But I just feel like too much of these things are starting to come out. It's like everybody's got a idea and says, well, you know what, I'm gonna make a movie, and then all of a sudden you look at the ratings, you're like, what the fuck, like really, like.
Well, this was a chance to get a good budget and reinvent a good genre, a good villain type horror film. No one has heard of Leatherface in the last 20 years. It's not like this is Halloween Kills again,
Right.
and they just flubbed it. Like,
They fucked it up bad. I mean, this does nothing to move the franchise forward. It doesn't put the franchise in a better light. I mean, other than we talked about, beforehand, the Jessica Biel one from 2003, that looks pretty good compared to this. But even then, that one was kind of like, okay.
That was more of a that was like a redo. That wasn't even a reboot of the series. That was more like a what is it called?
Reimagining.
Yeah, like I said, like that was not terrible.
And see, the thing with this one that's also disappointing as well is like, now look, I'm not saying Leatherface is this 3-dimensional, thought-provoking character,
No.
okay? But at least in the original, you understood where his psychoticness came from. He's tormented by his family. He's surrounded by it. They kind of have control over him. This guy basically his mom dies, and he puts on a mask and starts killing people.
Which is her face.
Which is her face. And it's just like, okay, you know what? I'm not saying, again, this is not an in-depth thing for Leatherface, but it's when you remove so much from it, again, and I think somebody mentioned it, this is just a hulking bad guy killing people, and it loses that flair. The thing about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was not just the characters, but it was the setting and the mood. It's a very eerie fucking movie. The way it's shot, the location of it, everything... The house itself, everything about that movie, it feels off. Like it's an uncomfortable.
And the fact that it was good, yeah.
And and it was good. It's really good. It's really good, and it's an uncomfortable film, but it's also terrifying because of the motivation of Leatherface and the people that he's surrounded. It's not just one person. It's like almost like a cult community type of thing, and it's again the way it's shot, the mood, and everything was really, really good. This one just has none of that. Other than the gore, which again was exceptional. I thought the gore was fucking awesome.
If they wanted you to interpret it or figure it out on your own, they didn't leave you any breadcrumbs to get there.
Yeah, no, it's rushed.
It's
putting rushed.
Yeah,
It's just, and it's again, and you mentioned, is this just another one of these things where people want something shiny? I mean, let's talk about Uncharted for a minute. We won't get too far off this, but Uncharted's sitting at like a 39 on Rotten Tomatoes right now,
and
it's got like it's got a 90 audience score.
And it was projected to do only 30 million and did like 43.
Close to 50. Close to 50. And so you talk about that, people are just looking for something shiny, something exciting to watch, and they go to the theater, and obviously there's some fans of the games who are probably disappointed with it, and the critics hate it, but the audiences fucking love it. And which is mind-boggling to me, because when we watched that trailer for Uncharted, I was like, this looks fun, but then you start hearing about it's just fully CGI, and it's like, fuck, Sony Pictures again. Overdoing the CGI, but man, Prime made a good point. Venom 2?
Yes, Tricky.
Venom 2 was all CGI, and we fucking hated it, but man, it made some fucking money. It made a ton of money. I don't know what it is, man. I like practical effects. I know you guys feel the same way. Practical effects are the way to go. But man, sometimes, like Tone mentions, we've been in our houses for the last 3 years. We've been all locked down. We just want to go to the theater and see some fun shit, and that's where we're at. And now Netflix is just kicking out this weak ass. They're trying to ride the Texas Chainsaw Massacre name, but it's a weak ass attempt. It's a really bad attempt. So, but we talk about it's 83 minutes. So I mean, you could waste your time a lot. We're like watching Cosmic Sin, which is like 83 minutes.
Maybe that's the kicker.
Maybe that's the kicker. Netflix is like, hey, we got all these Bruce Willis movies for 83 minutes that are doing really well. Let's make ours for 80-some minutes and kick it out. Somebody mentioned something. Oh god, there was a great question about how would you rank this. On a scale from Mortal Kombat to Cosmic Sin, Tone, where would you rank this movie? Sweet.
We broke him.
I'm going to say it's not as bad as Cosmic Sin, but it is worse than Mortal Kombat.
I don't want to watch Cosmic Sin just because you're saying it's this.
Dude, every time I tell somebody how bad it is, I'm like, you need to watch it now.
You guys like broke my brain for a minute. Like I can't even.
I smell smoke.
I'll never watch that fucking Mortal Kombat ever again.
Oh, you?
I would watch this for.
What about the next one they're doing?
I have to watch it. I have to be prepared to grab my pitchfork once again.
Oh, gee, and make another 20-minute video of you going off about it.
If you guys have never seen me talking about Mortal Kombat, check out the Banter and Babble on YouTube. There's a 23-minute video of
Shameless plug.
Bringing down the new recent Mortal Kombat movie.
Not made for children.
Trash. Not made for children.
At all.
At all.
All right. Moving on from the awful Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, we have not one, not two, but 3 trailers.
Right.
3 to talk about today. 3 trailers. 2 of them which dropped during the Super Bowl. 2 of them that are going to probably drum up more conversation than this first one. But this first one is important because it relates to our childhood. A lot of I've spent many after school, getting out of school and watching this. Let's check out the trailer for Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Good you guys watched it because you didn't even know some of the characters' names.
Oh God, it's been 30 years.
Real Hollywood story. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the show that defined a generation.
I do like the
and
angle
turned
they're
2
playing with
unknown
this.
chipmunks into international superstars. but his success took Chip and
The
Dale
Roger
to new
Rabbit kind of
heights.
thing.
Spent many more seasons of the Rescue Rangers.
We were living the dream, dancing the Roger Rabbit with Roger Rabbit.
No one ever imagined it could all come crashing down. Torn by vanity,
You look different.
Hey, it's no secret I had CGI surgery done.
consumed by temptation.
She's got the best of me.
Well, he sounds like Monterey. Interesting.
More, please.
Is it possible that two living legends are destined to reunite?
I'm thinking reboot.
Nobody wants a reboot.
It's the Rescue Rangers!
You need a disguise or something. Grab the first thing you can. What? Rescue Rangers 2.0.
This place looks weird. Remember that animation style where everything looked real, but nothing looked right?
Who are you?
Are you talking to us?
Obviously.
But it looks like you're talking to that window.
It actually looks like I'm looking right at you.
Okay.
Look at my eyes, looking right at your eyes.
Yeah.
She a real bad, got her own money. She don't need no.
Wow, a Weewa Tone. I'm gonna go to Tone first because he has a lot of.
I don't like the sound of fucking Chip there. The voice sucks.
Tone. I mean, obviously the. What?
The voice of Chip does not fit the character Chip. That's my biggest complaint. Movie looks like it's could be fun. I really like the angle, like you said, they're doing with it. But Chip, his voice sucks.
What do you want him to sound like? A high pitched squeak?
I want him to sound more like Chip.
Could you give us an example?
Yeah, can you give?
I don't fucking know. Like it just does not sound right.
Wow.
It, like
didn't
if you
sound
go
right.
if you go to the old the Rescue Rangers cartoon and you listen to Chip and Dale kind of sounded more normal. Chip always sounded way different than Dale. They sound similar. All I hear is like their human voices coming through enough. Like it doesn't feel cartoon. And especially Chip. Chip does not sound at all like he should. Like a little bit more animated or a little bit more, honestly, for lack of a better word, goofy. Care if it's been 30 years, get out.
So angry. He's so angry
He is
today.
always so angry. And,
So
and who would have
bitter.
thought he'd get angry over Chip and Dale?
Well, you guys can't even name the characters, so.
Monterey Jack, Chip and Dale. I mean, there you go.
You
Launchpad
dummy.
McQuack. Okay, cool.
Jesus, Launchpad. No, listen, I'll definitely watch it. I'm sure it'll be entertaining. It's just going to be really hard for me to like suspend my enjoyment because of that voice. It's going to shine through, and that's kind of like you ever see the movie Paul with Seth Rogen in it?
Yeah.
Good movie.
That's the alien one.
Right,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
movie, but like all I can hear in Paul is not a character. It's just Seth Rogen doing a character. Like these people that are going to do these voices, I wish they would just kind of like at least attempt to make a voice or something more unique instead of just them voicing their same voice over it. That just it's hard for me to enjoy those stories when I can just hear somebody like Seth Rogen being Seth Rogen as an alien as Seth Rogen. Like,
So are you gonna be pissed when Mario sounds just like Chris Pratt?
well, I don't think I'm the only one in the world that's got a complaint about that.
No,
so
no,
unless
you're
he's,
not. You're not
unless
solo.
he's doing a bit of, but that's a good analogy to where I feel about this Chip thing. Like Chip and Dale both had distinct different voices, and Chip's was a little bit more goofier, and clearly we're not getting that.
Breezy says, "Don't cheer up. Sing us another song."
No.
So when Tone bought the plot of land, I was unaware his lordship was in Edgetown. Yeah, he's edgy as fuck,
oh, shit,
bro.
yeah.
This
Lord
Chip
Tony
thing,
Blanco.
not this is a Tone thing. Ooh, okay.
No, it's more than that. If you guys are, I mean, I don't know how old you are, Brian. I don't know if you watched this kid. I think you're probably about it.
He's old as fuck, man. He's like
You're-
60.
You're 60. Oh, seriously. How's BJ and the Bear? One of your favorite shows?
Hey, if it involves a BJ, he's a fan of it for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Drasten, your thoughts on that trailer?
I wouldn't watch this. I'd rather mow the yard in a snowstorm.
Young and Vera. Oh, damn.
There's nothing about it that interests me. Like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was good because I was 10.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm not 10 anymore. They've not done anything with Chip and Dale since then. Like Disney all but fails to recognize that was a thing if you go to their parks or anything. The fact that they wasted money on this rather than doing like a live action Black Cauldron movie or Darkwing Duck for that matter, rather than this.
Ooh, Darkwing?
Yeah.
Or why wouldn't they just do it like an actual animated movie version? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
anything.
It just doesn't hit with me. I don't. Really good, isn't it?
You did that one. Wait till you do the other one.
This is from Warped Wing Brewing Company in
Yeah.
Dayton, Ohio, and it is called Killer Brownie Brown Ale.
And you're letting it warm up a little too, so you're gonna get more of the flavor.
Dude,
too.
it is so chocolatey.
Get the caramel in the finish.
Oh my god, dude, it is so good. Holy shit! I'm sorry, that totally broke my concentration.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. It just them mixing in with the live action. I get the bit in the beginning of just like it's been 30 years.
Yeah, where are they now?
They're just kind of trolling people, but the fact that they're going to turn this into some story that has more plot than Leatherface did,
which isn't hard.
I just don't see it.
No?
It's not something that my kids would be interested in, and I don't have enough nostalgia for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers to be like, oh my god, I got to see this.
See, I think that's where part of my problem was I was really excited when I saw this. I didn't realize it was going the direction it was when I first started seeing it. I'm like, okay, maybe I can get into this, whatever. But then all of a sudden, Chip started talking. I'm like, what the 9 fucking hells is that?
It's 30 years. He's aged. His balls
Shut
dropped,
up.
and now it's the same. Man, there's ways to explain things.
Yeah, Tricky's got a good point. Like, even
say, Alvin and the Chipmunks did great. So did Tom and Jerry. It will do good.
Like, I didn't care for the Tom and Jerry movie, but it didn't have the same feeling as this trailer did. And Alvin and the Chipmunks, at least there was some comedic value and some story that was in there. This just feels like,
didn't Alvin the Chipmunks sound like Alvin the Chipmunks?
They
too?
did.
Weird.
Now we could go into the
Weird.
fact that was an easier technology. It wasn't somebody just doing a voice. It was actually them auto-tuning the voice
Which
for
is
each
true.
character and all that stuff. So it's a little different. But I get your point because it's just lazy. They're not doing anything
All I'm
with
saying,
it.
like, I get it. Actors don't typically do voice acting. You could at least try to like change your voice and trying to do something. Like, I don't fucking do like whatever
You
arbitrary
sound like
voice.
Kermit the Frog.
yeah,
Did you
Kermit
catch that?
Kermit the Frog. Whatever it is. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Cole can be Chip. That's perfectly fine.
Somebody said I could just talk normal and I sound like Kermit the Frog, and that pisses me off.
I hear the other thing. I know, which is weird too. That's never crossed my mind.
I've had people tell me I sound like Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I have people tell me I sound like Kermit the Frog.
Or
and then Ray Romano.
Yeah, the first time we ever
I've
talked on
never
a voice
got it.
chat, I'm like, who? I didn't know Ray was here with us, and I don't think anyone got a word in from laughing for like 10 minutes.
Man, seriously.
Zach says the lack of vision in this chat is disappointing. There isn't no vision when all you can close your eyes and hear is Seth Rogen talking and being an alien when you're watching Paul. It's the same. That's my point. Like, these characters are coming, like, these people are coming in and voicing these characters. They're just voicing themselves. Like, if it's meant to aim towards kids or even like people who watched it 30 years ago, that's where you want to try to find that happy medium. Like, kids aren't going to know the difference, sure, but like, you want to draw them in by at least like sounding like you're cartoony, maybe, right? But you also want to draw in the older folks like us because you sound a little bit less like who you are. Like, if I close my eyes, oh well, that's Chris Parnell, or there's Seth Rogen, or there's Chris Pratt doing Mario. So,
But what about even like doing the marketing part of Disney of just like putting Rescue Rangers, the original show, on Disney Plus and putting it as something that shows up? Like,
Right.
Nobody knows what it is. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I like the trailer. I actually thought it was pretty entertaining. I'm excited to see what they do with this. My two concerns are, though, honestly, is the fact that it's tied to Disney Plus. Like, I feel like with the talent involved, the Will Arnett's and the Seth Rogens and Dennis Haysbert. I mean, you got a lot of like very distinct voices and a lot of actors that have done very mature movies. I feel like this kind of being tied to Disney is going to hamper them from being able to really kind of take it to a point where it could get a little edgy. You know, a little risque, so to speak. I mean, is this going to be the same vein as like the cartoon, or is this going to have some more adult themes? Because honestly, the way it's shot, I mean, it reminded me how Ted was. You know, Ted was a toy in the past that was really popular. Then 30 years later, he's Ted. He's you know, I feel like they could have done that with this, but because
really
it's tied to Disney, it's going to make them very difficult to go into kind of like that more edgy humor.
And maybe we'll have jokes that'll go over kids' heads.
I hope it does.
And like, I'm clearly gonna at least watch it. I want to at least see what kind of dumpster fire it ends up being. But like, and it might surprise me. But if I can get past like, because like I said, Monterey Jack sounded like whoever's voicing Monterey Jack.
There was
sounded
no
like
change.
Monterey
I
Jack.
mean, it's just an Australian accent.
But it doesn't more than that. But even
Is
if that even if that's the case,
So wait,
even if
hold
that's the case-
on. How is it more than that?
because if that was the case, then why isn't any random person just like doing the voice and doing it? Like they're actually trying to make him sound more like the original character.
But it's easier to do.
Easier not. Nobody's trying with Chip or Dale's voice.
Well, I agree.
That's
they're
my
not
point.
trying.
I'm
That's
telling you,
my
their
point.
balls dropped, and you can actually they're deeper
I
voice.
wasn't checking out what was hanging behind their fucking knees, bro.
Chip may be like, well, you know, Dale, I don't know if I can get in there anymore, man.
Shark79 says they just use known actors to sell the movie, and they're not wrong. This,
Yeah.
Again, this is a continue talking. I'm gonna look up this cast.
Yeah, I
It's
think
incredible.
that's really all it is, but I think therein lies also a problem. If we're trying to hook us on a fact that we just got all these big actors doing voices of characters that clearly aren't trying to voice act, they're just acting. That's kind of part of the problem. That kind of goes back to what I've been saying, is that people are just wanting these shiny things and wanting these names and don't care about the fucking substance, or even if it's a revisiting something old, trying to give patronage to the reason why people loved it back then and still want to love it now.
So I'm sorry. Here's the voices. I don't know. They have the cast. And they only have a few people like who they're voicing. But we know that Andy Samberg is Dale. Eric Bana is Monterey Jack. Fucking wild. That's Eric Bana.
I didn't know he was alive, but that's awesome.
And Dennis Haysbert is Zipper, and that's Serrano from Major League. And then John Mulaney is Chip.
That explains it.
But I mean, other than that, you've also got Seth Rogen, J.K. Simmons, Keegan-Michael Key, Chris Parnell.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a stat cast.
And
It's
you
a
can't have
stat
Chris
cast.
Parnell do a fucking cartoon voice because everybody's just gonna think he's fucking Jerry.
I mean, Chip and Dale are actors in this movie universe. The Chip voice was just for the Chip and Dale show. Mark Hamill doesn't sound like the Joker all the time.
I mean, if that's kind of the angle they're going with,
that's the bit.
I can. I mean, I guess I can kind of see that as well too. But I mean, like
Zach does not agree. Zach does not agree with
he
you.
never usually does. He likes to consume everything really easily and doesn't like to really think about it too hard.
Wow.
No, if that's kind of the
you're
thought
starting to
process-
win Brian over. Brian's like, I'm starting to understand where Tone's coming from.
That's all I'm saying, man. Like, but even then, like, we better at least hear John Mulaney at least attempt to do some fucking Chip voice, because otherwise I'm gonna not want to finish the fucking movie. So.
You know what they could do? Somebody just mentioned that.
He never drew out a
Blanco said it's a VH1 behind the scenes thing. How about this? How about these guys doing the voices for the characters now? We're doing voices when they made the cartoon, because obviously
that would make more sense to me.
I think I wonder if that's what they'll do. Because
if that's the case, then I'm like, okay, I'm getting more of that angle.
Look,
there.
I mean, they're animated characters who
Yeah.
did a show, and like, okay, talk really in a high squeaky voice, and that's how they did the show.
Right.
And now that they're out of the show, you're hearing the real voices.
It'd be like the
Right.
baby from Roger Rabbit.
There you go.
Yeah, because when he gets,
yeah.
yeah, 'cause he gets out, he's always he's smoking the cigar and like, my next act's coming up here right now. Yeah.
Was it Baby Huey? Is that what his name was?
No, that's a whole other. That's a whole other
different. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. But yeah.
Dude, that baby was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Hey, Roger!
Yeah. How about Chip doing blow off a stripper's ass? Let's get to. I know. I want that.
Man,
That's the kind of
I would
edgy
love to
stuff he
see
was
that
talking
shit.
about. Yeah.
I would love to
But
see
they're
it.
not going to do that. It's Disney.
No.
Unfortunately. They're going to be limited in what they can do, but I just feel like with the talent involved and, the premise of it, I feel like being tied to Disney is going to be ultimately the shortcoming that's going to make it close. We'll have some of that humor that we see in Disney movies that goes over the kids' heads, and the parents are like, oh my God, that's hilarious. But for the most part, it's going to be tied to that Disney where it's going to have to be, go crazy with.
I'm going to predict a 35% Rotten Tomato score.
35?
Yeah.
Oh, Tone, what are you going with on a Rotten Tomato score?
Oh, clearly. Well, users or critics?
Critics.
Critics are probably going to be right around the 40.
I think the critics are going to love it. The
Yeah.
audiences are going to hate it.
See, I think the opposite. I think the audience is going to be like at a fucking 8.
Stay tuned.
All right. I heard that half the movie is going to be a Mando episode.
Yeah.
Mando and Grogu show up.
Also trust the Lonely Island. Well, not all the Lonely Island. Like Andy Samberg's in it. Is it technically the Lonely Island's involved? I know. Like I don't know how much of a hand in it. Are they writing and all this stuff like that? Like, listen. It's not about the bits, or it's not even about the story. It literally comes down to some of the voice acting in it. That's what it comes down to for me. I love Lonely Island as well too, but like I just have a hard time. Like if listen, if that's the whole point, the VH1 behind the which it clearly kind of sets that up, but I like when I see Chip and Dale, I'm looking for the voices that we've heard for 50, 60 years. Even the guy that took over Kermit the Frog after the other guy passed away, at least still trying to sound like Kermit the Frog. He's not sitting around sounding like the Boss Baby out of fucking rat.
Maybe they could have used the tech that they did to do Luke Skywalker's voice in Mando.
Whatever. Yeah.
Are you done bitching, Tone? Can we move to the next trailer, please? Jeez, oh man, God, I didn't realize this was gonna be such a bitch session for you. All right, so up next,
clip it.
There has been we knew that Jordan Peele was making another movie. We had seen some little hints in there, and he'd been a little active on social media prior to the Super Bowl. And
nice.
We're gonna see what his new movie is. The trailer dropped during the Super Bowl. Let's check out the trailer for.
Did you know the very last created motion picture was a 2-second clip of a black man on a horse? And that man is my great-great-grandfather.
Great.
There's another great-grandfather. But that's why back at the Haywood Ranch, as the only black-owned horse trainers in Hollywood, we like to say since the moment pictures could move, we had skin in the game.
What's a bad miracle? They got a word for that.
Yeah, nah. Run!
Woo!
Gotta be Blanco.
A fun fact, the title Nope refers to what actual inductees say when the probing starts. He's not wrong. Dude, like, first of all, Jordan Peele has made some incredible movies the last couple of years. The way he looks at racism and how he uses it into the horror genre, and he's fantastic at it. Movies like Us, Get Out, even he worked on Candyman. There were some interesting elements in that too. And now we're looking at Nope. And dude, if there's one genre I really love, it has anything to do with aliens. I love that type of thing, alien invasion, sci-fi shit like that. I love that. And the fact that he's using that as his premise here is super fucking appealing. Like this trailer was fucking awesome.
Except they usually stick the landing a little more frequently, Trick.
What Trick say?
Because I actually agree with that statement. They remind him of M. Night movies.
Yep.
Except they actually kind of stick the landing.
Oh, absolutely. Like he is, and I don't want to jinx him here, but he's yet to make a dud.
I'm telling you, Lovecraft Country is one of the best HBO shows.
Oh.
Woo!
And like that was mostly all him. So, yeah, I totally agree.
No, this trailer looked awesome. I mean, again, we go back to how he explores racial themes and stuff like that, and how he manages to weave it in with like horror genres or subgenres of horror, and it's just in meaningful ways too. Not like, and it's not straightforward, and it's not like ham-fisted. It is really intelligent the way that he tells these stories, and you're watching, you're just like, man, I get the fucking connections he's making here, and I fucking dig it. Like it's really, really good. So I mean, your thoughts on the trailer tone? First thing,
all I needed to see was Jordan Peele, honestly, and like again, especially after he did Lovecraft Country, and then going back and seeing some of the other things he does, he clearly has. He's another one of those guys that like probably doesn't get a lot of talk about because he's still newer in this scope, but he's definitely one of those like Lovecraft. He's a guy who likes some Lovecraft things.
Yep. He
likes to explore some like cerebral kind of psychological things, and that's the shit I like to get involved as well too. So I'm hoping, this is just me, I always want a little Lovecraft dashes and everything. I get a little vibe on this as well too. And it might not be really that deep into that, but anytime it's unexplainable.
The one woman that stands up, there's definitely some Lovecraft stuff going on.
There is
when the veil kind of raises up.
So for me, like I'm full on board for this. Like that trailer is enough to sell me. Like wherever I got to go, a theater, wherever it's going to be.
Exactly.
I need to see it day one.
Drasten, your thoughts on Nope?
So ever since Get Out came out, like when Get Out came out, the wife was like, "Hey, I'd like to go see this movie." I know nothing about it. I'm like, "Yeah."
You just know Jordan Peele's being like, "Oh, it's probably gonna be hilarious."
I didn't even know that.
Oh, really?
No, because I don't see a lot of ads for stuff.
Sure.
And she's like, I want to go see this. I'm like, yeah, let's go to the theater to see it. Sold on anything he does. Like Us, we went to the theater and saw it like opening night. Like, so I'll be there on opening night to watch this
because I'm going to see this shit.
He's yet to make anything that I just haven't thoroughly enjoyed as a movie. It could have been the trailer could have solely been Jordan Peele presents Nope. And I'd been like, opening night ticket.
Just a black screen. Could be UFO or any sci-fi
I don't even
vibes.
care. He hasn't lost my confidence yet in his movie making ability.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as he continues to do that,
yep.
Instead of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, in those movies, which I do not enjoy.
Oh no, and and I see people talking about M. Night in the chat, and it's very diverse in there. But like, look, like I feel like M. Night. The movies that do work, they're really, really good movies. Like they're really good, and like I'll
rewatch them.
I'm still a huge fan of The Servant. We're making our way through the 3rd season of that. That show, if you guys have Apple Plus or Apple TV or whatever the fuck it is, watch The Servant. That show is such a good show, and it's M. Night at his peak right now. Now again, like every M. Night project, it's how it lands. It's what's the big twist at the end. Yeah. Now this is a show. And, I do remember he said he wanted it to be 6 seasons, but he's actually dialed it back down to 4 because he doesn't want to drag out. He's watched a lot of these people who produce these shows have seen what happens to stuff like Game of Thrones, or Dexter, even to that degree. Ones that run too long and they run out of ideas, and people kind of like, oh, fuck, man, it's kind of losing its way. Walking Dead's one that's constantly being criticized by its fan base. Like M. Night said, look, we looked at the story and we cut it down to 4 seasons because we don't want to go overstay our welcome, so to speak. And so I really do like M. Night. I think a lot of his movies are really good, but he does have some duds there. But it's just because, I will say this about M. Night, he takes risks. He's much like Nick Cage in the director's seat. He will go batshit crazy on some stuff, and sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. And I do like that. I like it when a director doesn't just kind of do what they normally do. It doesn't just follow a certain pattern. Much like James Wan. Remember Malignant? A lot of people in there didn't really care for Malignant. There's a mixed bag on that. But that's because James Wan said, fuck it, I'm going to take a risk. I'm not going to make the horror movies everyone expects me to make. I'm going to try something different. And that's what M. Night does. And sometimes M. Night, he fucking stumbles and falls on his ass. But Jordan Peele has yet to do that. I'm really excited about that because of what... But at the same time, and I'll let you guys talk in a second, I'm sorry, but it reminds me of like how he handled James Wan. We see Jordan Peele movies. We know what to expect from his movies. What happens if Jordan Peele tries to peel off like James Wan did and try to do something? How is that going to be perceived? That's the lesson I learned from Malignant was like, look, I know what Jordan Peele can do, but I also don't want to go into this movie expecting a Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah, you got to be careful because if the wheel's not broke, don't fix it, and that's when things sometimes get messy.
Yeah,
but Jordan Peele, like you said, it feels like before he writes a movie and goes to do a movie, he researches some theme, some historical theme, or something that happens, and then says, "This is a great theme that I can weave in aliens or mind control, basically, and this stuff."
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
And then he takes this historical relevancy, weaves it in, and then the audiences just eat it up.
Yep.
And then you go, yeah, that was kind of messed up that happened originally. Like, you see the connections. So you don't...
like you're getting a history lesson, too.
He's making history fun. Boom, boom, boom. The more you know.
No, I mean that's how it was after I saw Get Out. After I left the theater, I was like,
So
"Holy
great.
fucking shit, dude!" That was just
That movie
So
was
deep.
like tense from the moment it started. Like you were like, something's
awkward.
wrong.
Something was
Yeah.
off. It was very just like you were uncomfortable. You're like, "This is really uncomfortable. Like something weird
Yeah.
is going on here." All right, so
wait, stop before you drink that.
Uh-oh.
I want before I want to cuddle.
preface
Cuddle.
this by
Now
saying-
Cuddles is not excited about Nope, so I want to get his thoughts on this real quick. But I want to because I want to make sure when you drink that we do want to put the spotlight on you for a minute.
Okay.
Okay. 'Cause
So
it's-
now, Dress, you want to set this one up for me? Set everyone up on what this is.
Okay, that is from a new brewery in Ohio, not far from me. It's maybe like 10 minutes away. Fretboard Brewing Company.
Fretboard Brewing Company.
The guys in the office call it Fugi of it. I don't care. How
Oh,
you say it.
Fugi. Yep. Yeah. Fugi.
I thought that was the name of the brewery for a while, but that's the name of the beer. It is a breakfast ale.
A breakfast, so I can drink it at breakfast.
Absolutely.
This is the truth. This is the truth. I drank that. I got one because our local grocery store sells singles. So I was like, breakfast ale. Okay. I picked it up. I had one, went back and bought a 6-pack the next day.
Really?
And I messaged him and I said, I've never sat ready to go to work in the morning and looked over at my mini fridge and like, I kind of want to have one of these for breakfast.
I tell you, this would be my in if I wanted to tell my wife, like, hey, look, I'm going to have one because it's a breakfast ale.
Yeah.
You know, so if I drink 12 of these for breakfast, it's okay because it's a breakfast ale.
So now we just all sit and watch.
All right, so now, no, this is a ale brewed with natural flavor added.
No, just if you don't like it, that's fine. But we got to know because
They've been really excited for me to try this beer. They've been
Yeah.
really excited.
I
They
can't
wouldn't
explain
shut
it.
up about it. But okay, here we go.
Savior, drink big drink. Don't- Yeah, Savior a little bit. Get that you've let it warm a little bit too, so that's good. More flavor.
Dude, you're not joking. Okay, so Tone mentioned before the show, this is like the point of breakfast where after you've had pancakes and sausage,
Yeah.
and after you've eaten all the pancakes and sausage, but there's all that syrup and some remnants of pancakes and sausage on the
Sausage
plate,
juice.
you ain't cleaning that off in the sink, bro.
No, you're looking.
I'm gonna Horatio Sands that shit from fucking Road Trip, and you just like lick the plate. You're it's all that mixture of again sausage, grease, and syrup and pancakes,
vanilla.
That is fucking incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't it?
I can still, dude. I haven't had a
Yeah.
sip in 35 seconds.
It
I can
lingers.
still taste it.
It lingers. It's almost like they just like squeeze sausages into their fucking I don't know. That's and they probably
Dude,
did.
there's sausage juice in here. There's sausage juice.
I'm
They
telling
cooked
you.
a bunch of sausage, mixed it in with the
Telling
fucking beer, and said, "Here we go."
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, breakfast beer's not just for breakfast anymore. That's the way I look at it.
Any beverages you want me to bring? IP. Ooh. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I just,
yes.
I just
Yes.
want to say because while you enjoy that, Ohio gets a lot of smoke blown at it
Justified. So
on this show.
justified.
And in general from some of the people here.
Justified.
But there's 3 beers if you count my own that was brewed
Yeah.
in Ohio
Valid.
that have
Valid.
blown your mind in the last hour.
You guys are still the armpit of the U.S., but I am a huge fan.
And you've not had Hop and Frog.
I have not had Hop and Frog.
Yeah, he isn't.
So we
So I'm
got
gonna need you to back. I'm gonna need you to be back up here next week for the PB Porter and for Hop and Frog. Okay.
Right,
Next week we'll have Drasten back on for an impromptu show.
Bring more
Well, we'll
beer.
do a show on Wednesday, but we're gonna have him up. We're just gonna get shit faced next Saturday.
but we nail our breweries.
No, you guys know this is really good.
I think if I liked IPAs more, I would probably be more excited about some of the stuff up here in Michigan. Michigan was definitely one of the forerunners when it comes to micro brewing in the Midwest and really a lot of the United States. But Ohio has such an imagination when it comes to the different sours or everything. You guys like a lot of your breweries down there because you have some local spots. They're always teaming up with local spots. Like we got that in Michigan. Why aren't more of our breweries doing that up here as well too? Like
One of the cans I've got in my collection that I won't open, it was even because there's such a connection with all the breweries, like you said. And when the tornadoes hit and wiped out a big portion of like middle Ohio just a couple years ago, all the breweries got together and made a beer together. and
Oh,
put
man.
it out, and all the profits went to help the people who lost things during that tornado.
That's fucking sweet.
I mean, they've really just knocked it out of the
Mhm,
park.
mhm.
And then like these guys are relatively new in the beer scene, and street side is yet to put out a bad beer.
Yeah,
you know, like
Street Side,
Hop and Frog.
Hop and Frog, like those are two just generally right now that we love.
Yeah.
Put out anything bad.
I can go. That one's from Warped Wing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mile from my house. So you can just
be like, "Well, can we find a house closer?
right.
We can get closer than a mile. Right?
Hey.
There's a lot of room to maneuver there. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Any beverages you want me to bring?
See, Cherry has one of those as well because I mean everyone's
got a
buying
can?
them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So we have one more trailer to talk about, and this one is going to generate a lot of conversation, generate a lot of buzz when it dropped. Tone, would you say arguably this is probably your most anticipated movie of the year? I mean, honestly, is it? You're obviously a huge fan of Sam Raimi. You love Sam Raimi's work. Outside, Evil Dead. You've got Spider-Man.
I go to bat for him on Spider-Man 3 because it's not his fault. And if you guys continue to go back, and I'm going to keep saying this just for the relevancy of these discussions that we've had. If you go back, so now keep in mind, this was actually supposed to come out originally before Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
That's why this had a lot of different reshoots. And because now Sony got involved with Spider-Man, a lot of things changed. They changed some things up. But when Sam Raimi was announced to be doing Doctor Strange 2, which was already named and I was excited about because I'm like, we're going to, because it had multiverse in it already, like, this is going to open up a lot of things. It was during the Fox requisition that Marvel got. This is one that we've been talking about for a long time that, yes, I'm very excited for. Now, I was very excited for Spider-Man because Spider-Man is one of my all-time favorite comic book characters or whatever, and it definitely exceeded my expectations. But that said, on a different level, we'll say, I'm way more excited for this because I think this is really going to pull back the seal on a lot of things we've been wanting to happen since the MCU started, and I think this is really going to do it finally. Yeah, I'm stoked. This is
definitely the film that's kicking off the next phase.
Phase, all the stuff with Loki, everything that's been happening has been kind of kicking the can down the road. This is somebody playing kickball and running up to it and just fucking booting the shit over the fucking mountains. So
two things I want to add before we run the trailer. First, El Blanco says, I'm going to be honest, my biggest movie of the year is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and it is my most anticipated movie because I want to see Nick Cage play Nick Cage.
Actually, yeah, that's pretty much that's definitely top of the fucking list too.
It is at the top of the list. Wasn't there another director for this movie and it changed?
I believe there was. Actually, no, I don't. I think that Sam Raimi, I think there was rumors of somebody else. I could be wrong on that, and you guys can double check this. I think just instantly when they brought this in, Sam was tied.
They looked at the premise of the movie and the horror that it's putting into it.
We're talking about Lovecraftian and cosmic horror. This is where we're going to get some of that too.
But now here's the thing I want to ask you guys real quick before we run the trailer is, you talked about, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
That was obviously an amazing movie. And now you've got the potential of this, especially what we're going to see in the trailer. I think that Marvel has done a fantastic job because honestly, man, after Endgame, it could have dropped off quick. I mean, Endgame was a fucking incredible finish to that phase of Marvel. It was an amazing finish. It was, how do you top that? And No Way Home found a way to top it. And now you have this, the premise of it, and then the trailer, everything. I don't know if Marvel could have done a better job at keeping the Marvel train going because honestly, man, that's a big drop off from Endgame.
Yeah,
it could have easily just been like, dude, we're done.
And I'll even say, like, listen, I know we weren't overly huge fans of Black Widow. That movie did well, and a lot of people really liked it. We can critique some things about it, but it definitely is not going to be my focal point because that fit more in the last phase. Keep in mind, we had Shang-Chi that came out that ended up blowing like. None of us knew how good that was going to be and kind of came out of nowhere. And that technically is going to be part of this phase as well, too. But you had I think the difference is that you had the Disney Plus shows that have been able to at least kind of carry that banner in some way.
And build up some of the characters. Like Wanda's going to be an integral part of this movie.
Yes. And also build different stories so it feels like we're always getting some Marvel, so we're never disconnected to it. So like if prior to Disney Plus, if we had the end of the last phase, we had nothing to fill in between, so it would definitely feel like the stuff coming out might feel like, man, or is this going to live up to the hype? But we've been able to keep that kind of train kind of like chugging down the track at least a little bit. But we're now getting to the point with like Spider-Man and especially I think this movie, like these movies, including with Loki and being able to do the multiverse and be able to kind of give that idea out to us. I mean, they even mentioned the name multiverse in the original Doctor Strange. So this stuff has been in the thought process down the road for a long time, because that Fox requisition was probably in talks way longer than we realized until it was finalized. But this is the stuff. This is the big stuff, and we've said this numerous times on the show. These two movies are going to be the two big ones to really instill where this next phase is going to go, what this is going to be doing. And yeah, I think this is the one. This is definitely the one that's going to really kind of help start setting up the big bad, I think.
I think one of the things that's kind of interesting about it as well is the concept of a multiverse is difficult.
It is very difficult.
I mean, when you're trying to wrap your head around certain people are alive, or they're like, I think What If showed us the Captain Carter and all these different iterations. And they've so brilliantly written this in those little bits of information through What If and Loki and these things, that we're accepting it. And we're like, yeah, we can roll with this whole multiverse thing, like
absolutely.
without confusing,
easing people into it. Because like you said, it could be very confusing. It can be very like, oh, come on, no way. But the way they spent time exploring the multiverse and building it up
during the pandemic.
Yes, when everyone's home. That's actually a good point. Yeah. Everyone's home watching stuff. This is how we get people on board with what we're going to explore in the next phase.
Ideas, because you have the more grounded to reality things. You put in aliens in the last phase and Thanos. They had to build to a lot of that sort of thing and kind of keep people engaged in that. But this is like with the what ifs and things like that. What if is gonna, and we said this before as well too. What if is gonna take a bigger piece into this movie than a lot of the other things that we've seen before, really tying in directly. I think Loki will.
I can tell you right now, anytime Disney Plus puts anything out on Disney Plus tied to the MCU is going to be an integral part. None of this shit is going to ever be a one-off.
People are going.
None of this stuff will ever be a one-off.
They're going to lose context at this point. This is really going to be the first one of all of them. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose context if you haven't seen any of these things.
Absolutely.
And I understand, because I've seen a lot of back and forth about What If on like Twitter about not watching it, and people saying, or even Reddit, well, I shouldn't have to watch all this bullshit. The animation looks stupid. That's cool, but then when this movie comes out and you don't understand it, don't fucking complain about it or don't see the movie, because you're missing context.
Right. Cuddle says Multiverse isn't hard. It allows them to do whatever the fuck they want. Now we can even add in the movies that were shit and hopefully make them better.
X-Men.
Hey, you know what?
That's true.
Let's watch the trailer. Let's watch the trailer. Let's get into it.
Then we'll come back to some of these comments. Thank you, Brian, by the way.
Comments.
Thank you.
Every night, I dream the same dream. And then... the nightmare begins. I did what I had to do to protect our world.
You cannot control everything, Strange. You opened the doorway between universes, and we don't know who or what will walk through it.
Wanda, what do you know about the multiverse?
Viz had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
He was right.
I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
We should tell him the truth.
Things just got out of hand.
You break the rules. Look out! To become a hero. I do it, I become the enemy. It doesn't seem fair.
Trailer triggers a pee break.
Oh, you got one coming up. Triggers a pee break. Tone, bruh, we're gonna come to you first.
I can't even, like, there is so much things in this trailer. It's definitely out of order too. That's been broken down pretty well. There is so many things to digest in all of these things, and there's a lot. Again, I will point out there's a lot of what if things. There's at least 2 or 3 different characters probably involved. We see some different time hops. We see some different theorizing on some of the areas they end up. But the big piece of this overall is really clearly Patrick Stewart is the big piece. We hear his voice.
Yep.
Because Patrick Stewart, and here again is the huge part of it, is the Illuminati.
And how many members are a part of the Illuminati?
I believe so it's been kind of floaty, but typically 5 to 7.
And how many chairs were up on that stage?
I believe there was a total of 7, wasn't there?
Oh, there was 5 or 6.
Was there 5 or 6? Maybe 5 or 6. But we could be getting misdirected on some things as there as well too.
It's as Marvel does.
Yep. Definitely looks like Mordo or whatever his name is. I always get that wrong. Mordo. He's probably one of the ones sitting on there, because that Mordo is not the same one we've seen in the Doctor Strange MCU, because he's talking to Strange. The last time we seen him, he was kind of evil. But there's somebody that's got a hood cloak up. That's been a lot of theories. One that's got kicked around recently was Doctor Doom. But now the comic book Illuminati. That would be really fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
That's how they get in, because we want the one I really personally want, and I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan, but in the original like Illuminati in the comics, like Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic was one of the Illuminati.
At this point, if they do bring him out, it better be John Krasinski.
It should be a version of him. And I don't want the guy that played him in like the shitty movies.
Right.
It needs to be John, because like he, the internet wants it, John wants it. Like, let's just fucking.
I mean, we
it.
know John can act. John's a great actor.
Yep.
John's got that
Absolutely.
persona, and he can definitely do a Reed Richards. Continue.
Yep. So, I don't think we'll see Black Bolt in this iteration. I think because of how terrible the Inhumans TV show was, I think they want to stay clear from that. Though I would like them to do it, at least recognize, okay, yes, just like the Fox shitty movies, that was a shitty show. That was a shitty, TV show series that Loeb did. Let's at least have him in there. So will we see him? I don't know. But like, this would be a good way to bring in Namor. But I think that Namor is not going to be on this. I think they want to bring Namor in for the second Wakanda as well too, which is another topic as well too. But at the end of the day, like, we can speculate all these characters. We don't know who for sure it's going to be. We know for sure at this point that at least one of the main members of the Illuminati is probably going to be Professor X. Now, that's exciting alone, because that means, okay, now we're officially We've
X-Men.
Right. We've heard of the mutant. They name dropped a mutant in like what
Eternals?
was it? I think they kind of did it.
I think
they did in Eternals, but before that they did that in Black Widow too. They name dropped somebody as well too. So we're finally going to be there to where everything is interconnected, and we go back to Loki to help think all that as well. But the speculations on this movie right now are just kind of like, it's actually like Spider-Man levels. Like, everybody's got
there's so much
magnifying
going on
glass
right now.
on this.
Did you see the Deadpool thing?
The Deadpool thing now too,
Yeah,
like
there's
they think
rumors,
because they're jumping around so many different multiverses, especially with like America Chavez, that's what she does. She's a multi-dimensional, like, that's what she does. She fights in the multiverse. She could literally bring us to pretty much anywhere. Is this how we get Deadpool in there? This would be a good point to bring Deadpool in.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said it would be kind of neat if he was in that throne room, also getting yelled at for but for fucking around with the multiverse.
Yeah.
But we see what look like Legion bots as well too, because another big member of the Illuminati is Stark, who's dead. Now, I agree with some of the other people out there. I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. come back as Stark. I'm just like,
dude, the rumors that are brewing up are hot, though.
The rumors of that there's a couple that they think it could be, or because you see that somebody in the superior version of Iron Man's armor. If you zoom in, it actually looks like Jonathan Majors. That's the thing.
Oh, really?
Yes, and because Kang, technically, who he's supposed to be playing, is a descendant originally of Reed Richards in the comics, but they might retcon that and make it more of a Stark, like somehow in relation to Stark. But that's like I said, we would need a half hour or an hour just to talk about all this.
There's a lot of speculation on this trailer.
Will we see Tom Cruise play Stark, who was originally supposed to play potentially Stark?
There's a lot of buzz. There's nothing to go on.
Nothing.
And the thing is, man, Marvel has proven to this point that they'll keep shit under wraps the best they can.
Mm-hmm.
But if Tom Cruise walks out as Superior Iron Man,
that would be wild,
dude. You've filled that gap. That when you lose somebody like Robert Downey Jr., who's arguably the most important character or most important actor to jump into the MCU because he jump started shit.
Yeah, it was all him.
You bring in fucking Tom Cruise to play the next version of like Tony Stark.
Even if it's just like for this movie as
Just
a cameo,
this episode, this series, this movie only.
Yeah. No, that there's. I like again. If last thing I'll say, because I'm clearly excited about it, and we've talked about this so much on here, but we got such a close trailer. We're so close to this movie finally, and everything that's happening into. If we see Bruce Campbell as a cameo of some sort in this movie,
he's in it, dude. There's no way he's not.
Like even he doesn't have to be Ash. He doesn't have to be Ash at all. I think that would be really cool if he was Ash.
The chainsaw.
Yeah. But he needs to be whoever. He needs to be somebody in this. Like
I love how he was in Spider-Man. He was the maitre d', or was it the guy at the theater in Spider-Man 2? Was it?
Yeah, he was in then Spider-Man 1 when he was doing the wrestling.
Yeah, he was the wrestling guy.
He was the announcer.
And in Spider-Man 2, he was the maitre d' at the theater. He was like, shh.
He's like, "What's your name, kid?" And he's like, "Man, spiders." That sucks. Amazing Spider-Man. Whatever.
I'm just waiting for Dolph Lundgren. I'm in the MCU movie. Oh man, let's get Dolph in the Dolph in the line. Your thoughts?
Are we going to see Agent Coulson though?
I think. Well, her shield. Captain. What is it? Captain Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Her shield is in the shattered glass in that. So I think that is a speculation that she could be one of the ones sitting.
And the thing is, like that shield is very prevalent. Like, you can clear that. Now the Deadpool thing is a little fuzzy. I mean, it's really hard to see it, but if you can see whatever you want to see if you look at something long enough, you're like, oh, hey, that looks like that. I mean, in the shattered glass, if you look at Deadpool and then you look at the glass, it's you can see it if you look at it long enough and you convince yourself you see it. But man, I'm fucking Deadpool out there somewhere in this movie. Could be if they again, and it depends if they can nail it. I mean, we were wondering, can No Way Home nail it, and they did. This almost seems like this is going to be even more ambitious than that. This is a massive movie now at this point with the speculation and the stuff they show in this trailer. This has the potential of being the MCU movie we'll be talking about for years. It has somehow managed to take what Endgame finished and make it even more engaging and more addicting than the first 3 or 4 phases.
Yeah.
I mean, that if it can stick the landing. But I mean, this trailer was fucking dope. And you know what was crazy, man, is when the trailer popped up during the Super Bowl, I didn't get to see or hear. I didn't get to hear all of it. And so when you were going nuts and Signal going, that was Patrick Stewart, I was like, what? I didn't hear that part.
I didn't either.
So I had to go back to my phone and watch the trailer. I was like, holy shit, dude. So now I understood then at that point why the world was going fucking
There's
nuts.
been a lot of scrutiny on that, Blanco. They zoom in on that too, and it looks more like silver armor. So, and when you zoom in really close onto it, yeah, because it's been back and forth whether it's Monica Rambeau as well too. But when the last thing I saw zoomed in really close, it looked like Jonathan Majors. And again, like he would be a good fit as, you know, a version or younger version of Kang or another version of Kang, who not all versions of Kang were evil as well too. So it's hard to tell. And again, you know, Marvel likes to play smoke and mirrors with all this stuff,
they do.
and that's well expected as well too. So we don't really know. The point is, at the end of the day, you know, we don't, of course, really know, but it comes from Loki with the like how the TVA and everything, the timelines. Then we get to Spider-Man. Strange fucks up the timelines and the multiverse and links it all. Now we're here, and you know, I think at the end of the day, like we're expecting like maybe a big Kang setup, or I'm sure it'll have some links to him or big villains. But the question is the real true villain in this going to end up being Wanda? I mean, we hear her say it out loud for one.
Yeah.
And you know, we really don't know. And I think the next phase or big portions of the phase, the whole end game, excuse my term on that, but that we're trying to get to is there's been different versions of the Secret Wars in the comics. This is kind of trying to set up a kind of like how they did like a light version of the Civil War. This is going to be like a light version of Secret Wars, which is basically like picking and choosing and taking the best things from different multiverse layers and making them like big focal point. Now they have the ability to do.
Oh, and I have breaking news.
What's that?
This just in. I just found out the wife has to go to Detroit in June. Cuddles is coming to Michigan.
Oh,
so I need to, basically what you're saying,
we need to get
off.
dates real soon. Get dates real soon.
Get me those dates ASAP, my dude. I will go down to Detroit. We can go to Old Shillelagh Bar, hit up the casino. June, go to a Tigers game, get fucking drunk. You just planned out an entire fucking day just by saying
I
it.
feel like I need to work in the Novi office.
You should probably work in the Novi office, my man. for cereal.
I do want to scroll down. There was some things down there. Brian did find out that there was actually a
Yes, Scott
director.
Derrickson was the original.
So I saw that.
right there.
And it said Scott Derrickson was the director and stepped down due to creative differences. Good. If they brought in Sam Raimi and he agrees with the creative style of it, then I guess we're all winning.
Sam
there.
Raimi's a Lovecraft guy, and this is gonna be the multiverse of madness. There's gonna be all kinds of horror shit and stuff like that, and we clearly see they're renamed Shumagorath and things like that. So yeah, ready to go. So
But Wanda, who does whatever she can, does she get her kids back?
yes, I mean I don't think there's a reason why we heard their voices, and of course I always go back to Ryan Airy over at Screen Crush, but he's been saying it probably one of the loudest for a long time and longer than anybody else. They are building the Young Avengers, in this entire series, and everything. And America Chavez, guess what? She's a Young Avenger. So those two kids, one of the kid Loki, Sylphie, like all these players, all these people they're bringing in, things like this as well too. These are going to be.
Well, it was Hawkeye, the Hawkeye show. They were staying in the apartment of the lady that ran the West Coast Avengers as well.
Yeah.
So,
and Kate Bishop's a member of the Young Avengers as well. So yeah, they're definitely building that out.
It's all about the now, but it's also about the future with it. Honestly, it's all about the present and building up these characters that we all know and love, but also setting up the cash cow for the future for
Disney. Moving forward, right?
Yeah. We're gonna set everything up with Phase 4. So, all right. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna be toned for a minute. I gotta go tinkle.
You chugged a pug of beer.
I drank a lot of beer, and I gotta go get the strawberry one that I was gonna wait till after the stream. I'm gonna drink that
Did you
here.
finish
So
that whole bottle?
I did, dude.
See, I do this when I'm running too.
I know, man. You drank your bottle. No,
Yeah,
we'll be
I
back
did.
in just a moment. We still got some more stuff to talk about. Lots of stuff to talk about. We appreciate y'all being here on a Saturday. No, it's not ideal, but damn it, it's been a good time. Had a lot of good stuff to talk about, and plus we got this sexy fucking guy right here.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Get swifty.
And
Yeah,
we're back.
refreshed.
We got some games to talk about. But first off, I've cracked another beer from Ohio. The fine folks that made the breakfast ale.
Fretboard.
And this is a Reba, a strawberry blonde.
Nice
Get
little
it?
call out to Reba
Get it?
McEntire.
Little Reba.
That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia.
That's not that they hung an innocent man.
That wasn't a cue.
Oh,
I'm never coming to Ohio. I'll just full-blown alcoholic. My liver will fucking hate me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Never going to Ohio.
it's not bad. It's
It's not bad. It's really fucking good. All right. So we're gonna talk some LostArk. This is an MMO RPG.
Not Indiana Jones.
Not
Sorry.
Indiana Jones. And,
And
Lost
not
Ark.
and there's no dinosaurs.
Oh.
Well,
why
I
are we
take that
talking
back.
about
I
this?
take that back. There are freaking dinosaurs, but it's not.
Why are we talking about this if there's no dinosaurs or any of that shit? But this is an MMORPG that dropped on February 11th. It's available on Steam. It's free to play. I jumped into it on Friday after all you guys Cuddles. I mean, if you want to call in, bro, I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, because me and him have been hitting this pretty
I
hard.
would love to get Cuddles' thoughts on this. Hang on. Yeah, go ahead. First of all, give us a brief synopsis of this game while I get things set up for Cuddles to call in.
Okay, so LostArk, it originally released in Korea.
Yes, I remember
and
hearing
so
about that.
and it's been around for a few years before they released in Russia and one other country. So they've had, I think their advantage why this has been so successful is they've had time to kind of smooth it out for
Wow, playing that card already. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, they've taken a different take on the MMO. So in most MMOs, it's first person or third person, and you're running around. And combat against a rat takes you 5 minutes in the beginning, and it's one of those more challenging encounters. This game, they've decided, let's go the other route, and let's take a Diablo style where it's just obliterating hordes of enemies and turn it into an MMO. And that's where this game just shines.
No, continue.
The advantage is the most interesting thing is even at like you start at level 10 for whatever reason. But
Is that when I started at? Was level 10?
Yeah, like once you work through the prologue, you're level 10. It happens so quick because you don't get anything.
Oh, okay. Well,
But at every point that you're playing this game, you feel powerful. All your abilities are amazingly strong. You feel like you're really clearing things out. You feel like you're making a difference. But what I didn't expect from this game was the story. I'm not a huge story. Blaylock gives me a hard time about it all the time because I played some Final Fantasy 14. A lot of cutscenes and story. But this game has some really dark emotional stories that just continue to get better and better and better as you go. And by the time in the clips behind us, you'll see some where they're shooting some chains at a wall. That siege story dungeon takes it's like 10 minutes to get through. It's not super long, but like the amount of things that happen is so amazing that you're so immersed in the story, you don't even realize it took as long as it does to get through everything.
right.
So, and then once all that happens and you get your boat, you realize you've been working on an island that's this big and the world is this big. And you then are taking this boat and just sailing to where all these other different islands and collecting these arcs. And there's like 7 arcs and you only had, by the time you finish the story, you've only collected 1.
Right.
So you have 6 more to get. Not only that, and this is where I'm going to get him because I know how he plays MMOs. They also give you an island and you decorate that island. Like you plant hedges, you put fountains down, you do research, you unlock other islands, you can do farming on it, you decorate it.
It's free to play too. If I mention that,
And it's free to play. And looking through the store, there's not a lot. It's not a pay to win. It's cosmetic things. There's pets. There's things. Right now, there's 4.
Thank you, Private Eye. Appreciate that.
Thanks, dude.
There's 4 Twitch drops for it right now that you can get.
Don't they require an absurd amount of time? Like I've got one for like 360 minutes or something.
It's like 4 hours.
Okay.
You just put it on
time for that shit.
one of those guys and
Appreciate that, Private Al.
and you'll get them.
Okay.
While
Well,
you're-
hey,
while you're
maybe
in
I'll
bed.
do that. Maybe I'll do that.
But I was really shocked. I thought, well, I thought it might delve too much into the classic RPG tropes of menu hell.
Yep.
Which it is, just like you like.
There's menus, baby.
Perfectly fine. Go on.
There is so many things for those people that like to min-max their characters.
Yep.
There's like these you build these card decks that if you get this set gives you bonuses to all this stuff, and that's what I tell people. If you're going to start this game, don't get overwhelmed by the amount of options
That's my biggest concern with it right now.
Yeah, just play, because you'll worry about that stuff later. You got plenty of time to mess with it, but like they present it pretty early. But really, your first 40 levels is just a giant tutorial because they don't even let you do trade skills to like level 30. So it just kind of slowly creeps a new mechanic each time.
And see, I think it's really, and we're going to get Cuddles on here in a second. The one thing
is
that I
a
thought was
raptor mount.
the one thing I thought was most interesting about it when I fired it up and jumped into it, I was like, oh, this looks like a Diablo or what's that? The other one had a sequel that was really good recently that has really heavy story. But it's isometric as well.
I mean, so many at this
Yeah.
point. I mean,
Grim Dawn is one. There's several in there.
What's the one that you played? Divinity. Thank you, Brian.
Doesn't
Yeah,
say,
it
like,
reminds me of Divinity. And I'm sitting there playing. I was like, oh, okay. I thought this was like
Alders,
an
yeah.
MMO, but then I realized, oh, this is just a very linear experience to start the game. You're playing by yourself. You're going through stuff. And I asked you before the show, it's like, the only MMO that I've ever spent any real time with is like Final Fantasy 14 or Elder Scrolls Online, a third-person open world game. Whereas this is an isometric like Diablo, and I'm like, is this like open world? Is this like an MMO? Once you get past this, is there gonna be people running around everywhere? And you're like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually cool with that because I've always loved the isometric look of Diablo or Divinity. And then you're talking about the story, and like I will say this, man, when I was playing what little I've played so far. Fucking combat feels it's
really good,
really explosive. With some of the MMOs I played, you don't see the impact you have with a lot of your combat. Like you're just hitting people and you just see DPS, you just see the points. But this, you're actually affecting the crowd. Like you're really like imposing your will on these people. And you're like, this is sweet.
Everything is a little unique. Every class is unique.
What'd you go with? What's your class?
Gunlancer.
Gunlancer. I went with Assassin, with the one that spawns the demon when she builds up her ability.
Shadow
Hunter. Yep.
Yeah. So like as a Gunlancer, it's nothing for me to spin around, draw them all in, hit them up in the air, and then take the Gunlancer and shoot a blast that throws them off into this.
Like you actually feel like you're impact. Like I said, and it's not a knock against like Elder Scrolls or Final Fantasy 14, but you do feel like combat is more impactful. Like you're really affecting the enemies you're going against.
And they've taken all the tropes out of it. Like you're not collecting 35 rat tails that are a random drop on, and you have to kill rats for the next 45 minutes. It's go kill 2 of these and come forward. But like the quest turn in, instead of going back to the same person, you're moving forward into the next part of the story. So you're constantly moving through
you're
maps.
progressing, not going backtracking.
Yeah. So like you're constantly moving, and then playing games like New World. Like I like New World. New World had a good idea on their hands. It just fell flat. Everything was the same. Every area you go to in this game, it's a new model of monster. And honestly, for a game that's like this, it is a gorgeous game. You can zoom right into your character.
Really good,
it's beautiful. But it really gripped me. I did not expect the story stuff that came out of it. It's like watching an anime, and you're just getting a lot of that passion. It's definitely very anime style. The exposed chests and
my
spiky hair.
My Furiosa is very very much exposing everything.
So all in all, I've just been blown away at the variety in the game, and for a free to play game. Wow.
Oh, dude! Now here's my question, and Cuddles, we're gonna get you on in just a minute. Actually, no, I'm gonna bring Cuddles on now because I do want to get his thoughts on this as well. Because I feel like this, when you mention free to play, there's always a concern I have with that. Cuddles, are you with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. What up?
All right, let me make sure everyone else can hear Cuddles. Can everybody hear Cuddles?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I think they should be able to hear Cuddles just fine. No, you're good. All right, so no, my thing with like free to play games, there's always pay to win that you have to be concerned about. Pay to win. I mean, because that can offset your community really fast, especially not so much from. I'd be more worried about it from the PvP side of things, and I understand there's a PvP suite on this, but like at the same time, I don't want to have to deal with somebody super overpowered jumping into whatever I'm doing and wiping everything out without much of a challenge. That shit is fucking annoying. And that's why like a lot of co-op games. If I have friends who are super far ahead of me, and if I know I'm just going to walk in and just ride them out, it's not enjoyable for me. I love the challenge. I love the combat. Is pay to win an issue here?
I would say no, Cuddles. I don't think we've seen anything in the store that.
Well, like first off, for pay to win, I look at pay to win more for the PvP. If you look at this game as a whole pizza, the PvP is like one little slice of it. So even if there is, and I haven't seen any, I wouldn't think so. I've got almost 70 hours in this game. Once you hit level, this game is made for 50.
Yep.
50 and below is nothing. 50 and above, and everything is limited on your gear level at that point. So you can't just. I mean, you can jump into a lower level. I don't know why you would. Unless you're like helping a friend or something, but there's everything in the store is all cosmetic from what I've seen so far. Like Drasten said earlier, this is one of the best stories I played in a video game in a while.
Damn, really?
This is a free to play game.
There was one particular story, without going into a lot of details for those that do play it, that involves like the church inquisition coming in, and like. I think I was talking to others while I was playing. We were in Discord and everything, and I just all but muted them because like something bad was happening.
Right.
And I'm just watching this and just blown away. And I sent him a message. He's like, "Yeah, he's just frozen because the story is done so well."
Wow. Yeah, I'm at the point where we made our way through like a group of enemies, and we just opened up a door where my character was able to open a door, and we walk in. Oh, there's this below us, and we can. And that's where I cut away. So I know I'm still early on in the prologue, so to speak. But overall, I mean, it's just so this story opens up more in terms of like its storytelling. And you're telling me based on what I've seen so far, the world opens up considerably.
Oh yeah. On top of that, and Cuddles can speak more on this. Once you hit level 50 and do a few things, you get a free level 50 alt.
Oh, so you can create another class.
And it just max levels it.
That's fucking dope. Cuddles, let's get your thoughts, man. Overall, obviously we know that
the game's very alt friendly. Sorry.
No, you're good. Like we understand that, like you like the story, but I mean, in terms of the gameplay and everything that you've played so far, I mean, has this exceeded your expectations?
Oh, by far. Like I said, I'm almost 70 hours into it. I haven't beat the story. For one, like I haven't got all the arcs. Like I said, there's 7 arcs. I think I'm at 4. Another thing is my character, who's a paladin, which is an air quote support character, doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm doing my support stuff, but I have no problem going out and doing stuff on my own. Once you get to like my level, you can do these dungeons, and like they have an MVP at the end of it. I've been in the MVP the last 4 out of like 5 that I've done as a support character for damage and stuff. Out of all the character classes, there's like no weak character.
Nope.
Like it's not playing like World of Warcraft where you gotta level a healing, a holy priest. Like it not like that. Like it doesn't really matter what character you pick. There's not a weak one out of the group. Great. What Drasten said earlier with the quest line, like I go back to Warcraft. I played a lot of Warcraft. Like I'm not having to kill 75 goblins just to turn around and go kill 15 more to get whatever they drop. Like I'm literally killing 5 of them, but the thing is, I'm fighting 15 of them at a time, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Wild. Now, here's my question to you guys. Now, obviously, I jumped into the same server you guys on. We're on Carta in the U.S. East. Because I'm still early on, does it scale? Like, will I be able to jump in, or do I have to, like, because, like, here's my thing with this, and I love the idea of LostArk, and I like what I've played so far, but the reality is like, like a lot of us, full-time job, sure. I have other games that I'm playing that I want to get into, especially on consoles, with Horizon Forbidden West. I can only play this a very few times. Like, is there a way for me to jump in with you guys, not only where you guys are wiping everyone out easily, but like, will it scale my character to where I can actually do something, even though I'm limited in my abilities?
From what I understand, there's not.
There's not. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even that, like I went back and helped Tricky Regent the other day. Tricky, I think I played with Blanco and Cody as well. There's parts where I can't even help them anyway because a lot of the story is single player.
Okay, so a lot of the stuff early on building your character. Now, when you get out of the single player stuff, what level are you typically at?
All through the game. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
a
all
lot
through.
of the main story is single player. Like me and Tricky would still be in a party, but he would have to go and do his own thing while I was looking for
It's like an
okay.
instant
around the map.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of end game stuff can we expect? Well, I mean, obviously the linear portion of it early on, but like, what kind of end game shit have you guys bumped into so far?
There is PvP. There is, from what I understand, there is raids things. I see a lot of people fighting big monster, whatever. So the regular gear grind, I think, for MMOs.
Regular gear grind. No, I'm interested in it. Like I said, it's just something where it's just hard for me to if I didn't do B&B and I didn't enjoy some of the single player stuff that Sony's putting out and that you can see on Xbox, I would probably be like, look, I'm going to pick one game. If there's one game that taught me that was Destiny 2, I was like, man, if I didn't have to do everything else, I would just play Destiny 2 all day long because that's just the grind that I like. Whereas like MMOs, they're super appealing to me because it's just like, look, I can spend all my time playing one fucking game with all my friends, going through this together because there's really, even though there's an end game, there's no end to the game. It's just going to constantly be iterated upon. They're going to constantly release stuff where it's super fucking appealing. But the reality is I have other interests in other games as well on different platforms, family, full-time job. You guys know how this shit is. It's difficult. And I just want to make sure that if I jump into LostArk, if I put a certain amount of time into it, will I be able to catch up to you guys at some point and actually roll through stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing, based on what you guys have played so far, is this a game that you feel like will have that longevity where it's going to be relevant? Because, I mean, obviously New World, that seems like New World faded fast. There was so much hype and all this stuff about New World. I don't see anybody fucking talking about New World.
They lost 90% of their player base.
And that's why I feel like it's just like any live service game or MMORPG. You look at the Divisions. You look at what was the shit game by BioWare? I forgot the name of it. The one where you're flying around like Iron Man.
Outland. Oh no,
What was-
your Anthem.
Anthem. Dude, if these
What was that
games...
1343 put out? Halo Infinite.
Stop it.
Whatever.
But no, I mean, that's the thing with these games. Like, you have to have something.
Yeah.
You have to have an end game. You have to have something to keep you there because the next LostArk could be around the corner and you're out.
Well, this game, if you're a completionist, sign your life away.
Really?
Christ, yeah.
There's
Tone's struggling over. He's like, "Fuck,
So-
do I download this?"
So just like to give
I
like
really am probably
to
gonna look
like
at it
give a
tonight.
sample of what this is like. Every area has these like little fruit things that are in them that you collect, and they're part of these. They're called Makoko seeds.
Oh, excuse me.
They're Cuddles. What's it say? How many? There's like 1,600.
1,300 of them.
So it's basically the heart or the stars and or the moons and Mario Odyssey.
That's just
There's
one part of it.
6,000
But that's just one. There's 9 collectors things that are like that. Like you bring up the collections.
Tone's fucked.
And not even that. Each world you have or that you go to have what they call the Adventurer's Tomb, where you have to complete all these different objectives in each individual world. That's why I don't mind going back and help people. Cause all these stuff I missed before because I'm focusing on the story. I can tell you, like, as much as I love Dying Light, I haven't touched this since I downloaded LostArk.
Wow.
And like one thing I found really interesting as someone who just loves trade skills in an MMO environment. It sucks when you go to a node like a tree to cut it down and someone else runs up and
It swipes the shit.
If you click on it while they're cutting it with an axe, you'll start cutting it too, and then you both will pull out this massive saw and start sawing it together.
Work together?
And you both get the resources from it.
Jesus.
That
needed to happen 20 years ago.
Right.
That's
right.
smart.
Like I was blown away because like most of the time, like stop hitting my node, and then when you pull that axe out, you're just like, wait, I didn't lose anything. We got the same amount
You're
of
working
reason.
together.
It just
Every
happened
MMO.
faster.
Every MMO, it's the opposite. The first 5 levels, you're trying to do the thing, and like, oh, well, 7 of us are fighting. You got to get 2 of the buckets of water. Great. You know,
Yeah,
that guy's got it.
That's smart.
That's what I'm saying. What differentiates this from New World is this has already been released. They've had time to like
For
Fine
years.
tune it.
even things out. And now they're pushing. Now, do we have issues? Yeah, they've had server issues because Amazon did not, surprise,
Shocking.
did not anticipate the amount of hype in the United States and Europe. US hasn't been too bad. Cuddles, I haven't had any problem getting on. I don't think you have.
You talking about LostArk still?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the Steam?
Yeah, Steam.
It is on Steam.
Did Amazon bring this over? You said Amazon.
It's Prime Gaming published it. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's on Steam.
Yeah. But like in Europe, they've had massive queues and things. And that's
surprised that Amazon publishes that. Publish new.
Gotta make money somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, sign up for their fucking grocery store.
Now, Blanco says, now tell them how quick it is to switch to an instance to farm nodes.
Right. So one of the really cool things that New World never figured out was instances. WoW has had this figured out for a very long time, but they've never allowed you to easily switch. In this game, up in the upper right-hand corner, there's just a drop down. And you drop it down, and it'll tell you how populated each instance of the zone you're in is, and you can just click it and go to it. So you just go to an empty one and start farming stuff.
When your friend's on, it's like, hey, what instance you on? I'm going to drop down on 4. Let's go to 4.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking amazing.
I'm going to say one last thing before I leave out. One, this game might not be for everybody. The controls are janky.
They do take time.
They take a little while to get to. It's perfect for people like me and Drasten who we easily get sucked into games. We do this every month. We play a different game.
Call of the Wild.
10,000 hours for the 1 month. But it's also one of those games you can casually play. Like it's not like one you have to just play all the time. I do want to ban Cherry though, if I can do that.
No,
you're a mod. Yeah, I mean,
okay, I'm a mod. So
I like Cherry.
Yeah, she's all right, but I'm kidding. Sorry, I lost track now. Like I said, the game's not for everybody. I get that, but if you like the completion, if you want a grindy game, like as much as I was looking forward to Dying Light to grind that game out, like LostArk came out and said, you know what? I see Dying Light and raise it 10 billion.
It's fun though. It's a fun grind. It really is.
No, and I will say I saw a video. I didn't realize it either. I know it says on Steam, partial gamepad support, and they have to say partial, even if it's close to 100 to cover their ass, because there could always be one thing that's not.
Yeah.
And they can be in trouble for it. But I watched the video, and it's actually really intuitive.
It's not as great as what you think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it looked pretty good because that's one reason I liked about Final Fantasy 14 was being able to play it with a controller, and it worked really good. I thought, at least I did. Maybe if I thought that worked good, maybe it'll work good for this.
So here's the difference there though: is that 14 by Square was built for a controller.
You're right.
It was specifically built,
but it still has like a very complex system. Like it takes a second to get used to all the different attacks and abilities.
Yeah, the way they did it was smart though. Not to digress too far off. It's just used to play a lot of that. Is that basically your bumpers and your triggers will pull up different powers?
That's what it does in this,
and that makes it easy there. So if that's kind of how it is with this, it probably.
I will say if they were to put this for Steam Deck compatibility, done.
Really?
I'll buy a Steam Deck just for this and like Call of the Wild.
No more mobile gaming, I guess.
No, I'm really curious to play this more. And like I said, I'm going to try to grind through it and get caught up or get to a point where I can run through stuff with you guys. But if I had all the time in the world, I would play games like this because I do love the grind of it. I do love the continuous like adding to it, iterations added to it.
I think the problem is if you don't give it a good, a good 30 levels, the story takes a bit to pick up. But once it picks up, you're just like, oh,
you're committed.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like dynamic animations that happen with all this stuff. So it's very enjoyable. I just don't. Why don't?
He's a fake MMO guy, dude.
And it's free. Like he's
like, I like MMOs, and he doesn't play them.
I don't play them for a reason.
Because you fucking
especially
don't play them
like this.
You're not a fan of them, like you pretend you are.
I've got my reasons.
When I go back, I'll make sure
we'll probably have to look at it tonight.
Look at it tonight. Just put it down tomorrow morning. Got it. I see how that's working out.
I didn't expect it to grip me like that though.
It's pretty good what I played so far, but like I said, I'm not nearly as far along as you guys. All right, next topic. We're gonna go back to D&D. Let's talk the legends of Vox Machina.
gonna sneak out of here.
I'm gonna
Bye.
roll over to Drasten on this.
See you, dude.
Drasten.
Thanks for calling in.
Oh
bro.
yeah, thanks, Carlos. Have a good one, buddy. Love me some cuddles. Love me some
too.
cuddles. All right, so I want to get your thoughts because you're the D&D guy. Kind of fill us in where this takes place in the D&D universe. Like, where does this draw its inspiration from? What makes it so important to the D&D brand?
Well, so the big thing about Vox Machina and the Critical Role show in general is they were, while other people did it, they were the first one to really get popularized mainstream, where people were like, wait, D&D's not a nerd game?
Yeah, they were yes.
And it's interesting their start because they started playing this campaign. This is a homebrew world by Matt Mercer. They started doing it for, I think it was Sam's birthday. Somebody wanted to do it, and they're like, let's play D&D for my birthday. I just want to get all, they were all friends within the voice acting community and all that stuff. So they all got together. They just kept doing it. Well, then I guess one time they were playing, Felicia Day was there, a friend of theirs.
I love Felicia.
And she's like, you guys need to get this out on the internet. Much kind of like, yeah. And it just gained so much popularity on that Geek and Sundry, which is where they started. So that's why even with the show, you start in a weird spot where they're fighting dragons because they had been playing it from home for so long. So this world gets built and it goes right into this arc. Percy's arc for the Briarwood arc is what popularity calls. Of course, this was a huge thing because they only wanted to do like an episode or two.
They went 12 deep, and they got 12 more for season 2 already.
Well, this was a Kickstarter campaign that they broke the record on. Largest Kickstarter for an animation. Or
is it really?
It passed Mystery Science Theater.
No easy feat.
No. So this was huge that, and if the season ended where it did this week, I would be so happy inside that we just got a quality D&D show for people to enjoy out there. If we look in the past, the D&D movies that are out there
and games,
Jeremy Irons in the D&D movie. Oh boy. It's
now the 80s cartoon did get some notoriety though, the
80s cartoon did, but that was based on original D&D. So like that was back before classes. Your race determined what you were.
Yep.
So it was a lot different back then. But that was the intro to the cartoon, they're fighting team. Like
yeah, that's right.
It was a little bit different. So this is huge. Percy obviously has a really dark story here. And you, in these last 3 episodes, you're discovering the cause of that.
Yes.
Which is just, it's amazing storytelling.
Dude, like, honestly, God, like, I really enjoyed all the episodes leading to the final 3. But when I realized that a lot of the focus was turned to Percival and his obsession with revenge and the demon that conveys that obsession within, it was just, dude, it was like right then I was like, oh, this is more about him. And it was just so well done. The struggle to convey an internal struggle is no easy feat. And the way they conveyed this with that his inner demon, so to speak, was just so well done and heartbreaking. Like, you're just like, man, that is a fucking struggle, because they kept showing what was motivating him,
right,
and where that manifested this obsession from. It was fucking wild.
And the nice thing is like the emotion he conveys in the show is exactly the same emotion he did in the original D&D session.
Oh, really?
I mean, he poured all. It wasn't just like a player that was just like, yeah, I'm really sad and I spin my gun and the name comes up. No, he was really just like, you can watch him. Taliesin Jaffe just was in Mr. Mom. Don't know if you know that. He was like the little kid in Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton.
What is it, the one with the whoopee or the other kid?
The really young one.
The one with the whoopee?
Yeah. That was Taliesin Jaffe.
Jaws.
Yeah. He's got the whoopee. He doesn't want to give up his blanket. Wow.
He has a knack for being able to push that emotion out there like that. And it's just the way the art crew at Titmouse did this animation to match that was just such a great story. And they captured everybody so well. I mean, you had a Keyleth. It was basically a failure as a druid,
Yes.
you know, and her tribe sends her out to you know, like get some life experiences because
Yeah.
you suck.
Right,
You know?
get good.
I love the way they captured Ashley Johnson's character because
Pike, oh, she's
Pike.
amazing, dude.
Because you see her glowing, and of course Grog is having fun with that.
Yeah.
But when you know the reason why, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because she was filming Blind Spot, because she is still an actress.
Right.
So she was doing all these shows. So on the show itself, they'd have her like on a screen on Skype.
Oh, really?
So like when her connection breaks out and she disappears in the show, she lost connection in Skype. So they couldn't get her back.
Dude, that's fucking amazing.
And that's the crazy thing about this is like you look at the fact it's been crowdfunded. You look at the fact that these guys have really been the foundation for bringing D&D into such a forefront. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other actors out there that we know that we've talked about before, like Matt Lillard and Vin Diesel and Joe
Manganiello.
yeah, that play D&D that are like very open about it and things like that too. But these guys like really brought this into excuse me, such a big forefront as well too. But this story is, like you said, it's a character background story in the middle of a big, huge or arcing story that they fucking played through. This is a cartoon based off of a game that these guys played, actually rolled dice to play.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
And it's fantastic. And there's tidbits in the main story that get in there. I don't know, spoiler alert, I guess, on this of what Lady Briarwood is basically. They keep talking about the Whispered One.
Yes.
So in D&D, the Whispered One is Vecna, and there's an item, the Hand of Vecna, a powerful lich. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kicking off the BBEG for the whole thing. Is she summons Vecna into the world,
Right.
and they don't even realize it. You know, like
Because they gotta just leave that spinning ball there, like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
But then we see the power of that ball when
Towards the end, like,
they
"Oh,
send
well,
in.
we sent
Oh
our
yeah,
guy
we
back."
sent one of our priests over
Yeah.
there. He took care of it, and he gets his fucking skin ripped off his face, pulled into it.
But then we get to the ending.
Yes.
The last 20 seconds or so, you know, Bex gets that ringing in her ears
Yep.
again.
Again, Laura Bailey.
Oh, Laura Bailey. So if you don't know Laura Bailey, you're talking like Gears of War 5.
Yep.
She got an
She's
award
Kate.
for. She was in
She's
Last of
actually
Us.
the lead actress in the latest Call of Duty. She plays the main protagonist.
Was she Mass Effect?
I think so.
Laura Bailey. Was she in charge? No.
Her and Travis are married. The guy that plays Grog.
Okay.
They met doing the voiceover work for Full Metal Alchemist. She is Lust and he is Colonel Mustang, and that's where they met.
Yep,
So
Telltale.
Batman Telltale.
Some Telltale. She's
Yep.
one of the more renowned
she's
voice
one-
actresses.
She's a big time voice actress.
Ashley Johnson is the main character in Last of Us 1
Ellie,
and
yep,
2.
she's Ellie in that. And she's done God,
Growing Pains is Chrissy Seaver
Chrissy
or whatever.
Seaver,
Yeah,
yep.
right. Stuff like this cartoon is a great plan for people who play D&D, but also should create a story. It's true. It's true. There's so much story that just. I mean, this is coming out of people's imagination, which
Yeah.
is just fantastic. And then of course you got Matt Mercer and Liam, who have done voices for Warcraft, ESO.
Mhm.
Like anyone in this community that has played any video game has heard one of these people's voices.
Right,
at
oh,
some
absolutely.
point.
Twice over.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then we get to the end of this episode, and you see this sunset, and you see the wings, and you're going, "Oh, now we're bringing it all back around." The dragon from the first
Not
episode,
just one,
and then you see another,
and not just
and
two,
another,
and four.
and then it ends, and then you realize, well, shit.
I panicked because I was like, "Oh fuck, was this not the end of the season?" Because I went to IMDb and it said 24 episodes. I'm like, "Oh, cool, we have more." But then I realized, "Oh, this is the hanger."
Right.
I gotta wait for fucking season 2 to see
So
what
this
happens.
kicks off the Chroma Conclave arc, which is a whole new arc, which has got me excited because there's some other voice actors that come in and other folks that come in that I don't know if they're going to do that part of the story, but this is another very stressful part of the story. But they got crowdfunded or kickstarted for these 2 seasons. I really think. Do you know it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for critics and 96% audience
I
score?
believe it.
I was going to ask you, you didn't know that?
I didn't know. I didn't see the Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah.
score on this.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Well, it's right now, what, 96 or 95? IMDb
96,
on,
yeah.
like on the Amazon.
I knew the show was good when we were watching Servant and Ozark last weekend. And I was like, I told my wife, I was like, you gotta watch this show. And she's like, come on, let's watch it. And she was like, this show's really good. I was like, okay, now I know that this show's legit. And that also speaks volumes about the reach it has. I mean, she's not a gamer. She's not a D&D person.
Right.
But when she watched it, she's like, this is actually really, really good. And so she's hooked on it. So, I mean, I believe it when you say the 100% score and the audience score is right where it's at. It's phenomenal art. It's phenomenal animation.
Yeah.
It's violent and it's scary, man. Like I told you, that Wraith in episode 4 at the castle when the Wraiths come in, that shit was fucking awesome. But the story and the writing, the voice acting elevates it to the next level. And again, you know, when you can sit there and explore something like the trauma that Percival's going through with revenge and all this stuff and watching his family get killed, and you can convey that to an emotional stake in an animation in an animation setting, that's no easy feat. It's hard to do that in animation. Outside of like Disney, it's very difficult for animated stuff to get people emotionally engaged into certain characters, which requires strong writing, which is what this has.
Right, and that's, you know, these guys are all voice actors originally that played D&D and then said, hey, do this. It's kind of, you know, so that's why you can get, you know, these guys do anime and they do things like that, so they can convey those emotions. Ashley Johnson's Ellie, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So they can do that. You know, which is also contrast to like bringing regular actors in to do something like Chippendale.
God, he
really
spent
brought
that
that
whole
in. He
time just to get to
It
that
was a
weak
long-
ass
it
shit.
was a long build up.
Fucking
It
gotcha.
was, and it wasn't even worth it.
Gotcha, but it's a fact.
So I think
Opinion.
I think Amazon is going to pick them up and continue
They
doing
need to.
campaign 1.
Amazon is a great place for animation right now. You look at Invincible, you
Dude,
look at
yes.
this. They have some fucking quality
And if
titles.
you need, it's not like just like as an anime fan, like a lot of Eastern anime, it's not just like anime.
Right.
This is just like Western, like cartoons or whatever, for lack of a better term,
Right.
that are just compelling stories.
They have
action,
anime DNA
story.
to them, but they're in that
Right.
Western style.
Right, and they're good, and they're good. And that's the
It's really, really fun.
So depending on how they play this out, they've got a lot of content to work with, several episodes to continue the story of campaign 1, and then you got campaign 2 because the show actually is in campaign 3 right now. So this could keep going if Amazon's ready to flip
Dude,
the bill
Amazon,
for
and
it.
I feel like Amazon's in that position, man, where there's just enough fucking nerds out there where we're gonna tune into this shit every fucking time they put out 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Amazon's gonna be fucking stupid not to flip the bill on this.
it would be wild of them not to pick.
They will never have to use a Kickstarter ever again. Amazon's gonna be like, name your price.
What's odd is the way they dump these so fast.
3 episodes a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I mean, what was it? I saw an article. I didn't get the deep of it, but HBO Max regarding the way they handle their weekly releases. It's really interesting because, and we talked about this multiple times in the past. Whether, I mean, obviously this is 3 episodes at a time, but it's not the full season in bulk. Look at Ozark season 4, for example. They dropped that whole season 1 week. Is anyone talking about Ozark right now? And not a shot against Ozark 4. Obviously, you liked it, and it's really good, and it's reviewed well. No, but I mean, honestly, man, if you go on social media right now, is anyone talking about Ozark?
Well, I mean, probably because people like we binged it in a week.
Right, but what I'm saying though is its relevance gone. Nobody's talking about it. Yes, very sure. You go on social media, I don't see anyone talking about Ozark.
They all watched it.
Right, but I'm saying that's what makes this more compelling of a release schedule because it continues to have people going. The conversation keeps going.
So what you're saying is what you said originally with the D+ things, and my complaint was, because I'm a binger, is that you say it keeps it rolling longer because you were just do an episode or a few a week.
Exactly.
That's your point, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that part.
I'm just making sure you weren't shot in Ozark because I was gonna come at you like a spider.
No, absolutely. And I made that point at the beginning. I said it's not a shot against Ozark because obviously it reviewed incredibly well, but in terms of relevance and continuing the conversation going forward,
I do because I get what you're saying. Like I agree with that. I think that does keep the conversation going longer.
More speculation, more
yeah,
conversations
yeah,
going,
absolutely.
and that's where even at 3 episodes at a time, I was hyped. I'd watch all 3 episodes and be like, "Fuck, man! All right, let's keep going."
Dude, well, shit. If I'm working from home and they dropped, I'd have to, like, on my lunch hour, I got at least I gotta watch one, trying to eat my sandwich and figure out, like, fucking just like this, like.
Well, I was sitting in the hotel room Thursday night, and I was just hopped on Discord on my phone, was talking to the guys and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we got Vox Machina tomorrow and everything like that. So I just happened to get it the app installed on my phone and take a look at it, and I'm like, they dropped Thursday night. They dropped a day early.
I know.
Woo.
So I'm like, bye. And I hung up on them.
I'm out here. Jay Hill says he's wearing his comfy B&B hoodie. It looked good on him, dude.
Yeah.
It looked good on
Yeah,
him.
we appreciate
Appreciate
sharing
that
buddy.
support. And hey, before we take another pee break, because Tone has to go pee again.
I don't.
Yes, he does. Big shout out to Jay Hill again for picking up that B&B hoodie. If you want to pick up some awesome merch, yes, B&B, head over to the B&B merch store. You can grab yourself a t-shirt, hoodie. I think we have edible underwear.
Maybe. And if you get anything on the mouse pad, like anything, thick, you can just like wipe it off and clean it.
Just don't put it in the dishwasher. It's not good. But I know Tone really has to go pee. We're going to take a quick break, and we have one more topic. We'll wrap things up. We appreciate each and every one of you being here on a Saturday. Love you all very much.
That's a good question.
Question, are you going to have merch at Comic-Con?
We probably won't have merch at Comic-Con.
We're going to have merch at Comic-Con.
We'll
have a couple of things.
Talk about it.
But we will have some stuff.
2 weeks out, so we'll see.
I forgot about delivery time. Well, we'll try. We'll try.
Or you can just hit that link.
Or you can hit the link. Pick some up. Either way, we'll be right back.
Buy me beer. Beer. And welcome back. No idea why the mics are cutting out. Hopefully, has it been the entire stream? Has it been noticeable? Or is it when we move away? Like, is it? So yeah, it cuts out when I move away. So
That's what it is.
that noise gate. Hear me, and then I come close, and you can hear me. All right, so noise gate, we gotta look at that. Appreciate that feedback. Per usual, usually Tone's the best at keeping his mouth wrapped around that thing. So that's.
Do you want to taste it? Do you really want to taste it?
Let's talk about the Peacemaker finale series as a whole. This show, Tone, has really just really surprised me, man. Honestly, from the first couple episodes where I was kind of a little indifferent, I was like a little, hopefully this picks up.
Struggled
a little bit early on.
Struggled.
And then it got, then I kind of embraced what it was going for. But man, James Gunn has really shown that as good as he is as a director, he might even be better as a writer. These last 3 episodes especially have been incredibly emotional, way more than we've seen in any of the previous 5 episodes prior to this. We've seen them flesh out Peacemaker's character. We got to see Economos. We got to see Hardcore all have great scenes. Ebediah had multiple great scenes. These last couple episodes have been some of the best that we've seen from James Gunn in terms of movies or TV shows. Some of his best work.
I would say pretty like every single character in some way. Maybe not so much like Vigilante as deep as
Vigilante is my favorite character, by the way.
If he's not your favorite character, you might be a pee-pee, but they've all had some form of like moment of clarity in some way or some character growth or development. And I gotta just to point blank say this. I cannot fathom still, even after watching it, how James Gunn has been able to direct and do things like he did with Guardians. We knew there was a lot of things there. He clearly in 8 weeks wrote some fucking near masterpiece of something, but just be able to do all these things that you would want, like this mature themed, like toilet humor, actiony, comedy, good storytelling, good character development. How in the fucking nine hells in 8 weeks can this guy put something like this together, or at least have like it almost makes you look at other things you see out there and want to go like, you're not trying hard enough. You're not trying hard enough. You're not trying hard enough. Like, and I'm like, I just still can't wrap my head around all of that. Like, I don't want to just sit here and jerk them off all day, but to be honest with you, in a lot of people, their favorite MCU movies are the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and that's multiple characters that typically in those have some form of some form of clarity, and he directs those and doesn't have maybe as big a hand of the writing. This is him.
He wrote the Guardian movies.
Did he actually just straight up? Okay, so the question is, okay, so because I usually get with Feige, I know they have their hands heavy.
I'm sure they're heavy handed, but it's still his.
But I mean,
but
this was him probably more, I guess, unleashed in the end of the day. But it just, I just as I step back and look back on this, and again, I think I was one of the ones that was like sold on the intro and the first episode, and I'm like, I'm all in, I'm all in, like I was ready for the ride, and I'm still baffled by how good this show was, and I really mean that wholeheartedly. Like, this is one of the best TV shows I've seen as an entertainment and enjoyable piece in a long time. Like, it hits so many like just boxes that I still like I said, I'm still baffled by this.
It could have been just dumb humor. It could have been raunchy. It could have been all that stuff that we got from Suicide Squad. But man, for whatever reason, this just jumped into way more dramatic elements. I mean, you get the violence, you get the action, you get the humor, all that stuff, but when they start to really kind of dive into Peacemaker's psyche and everything that's going on in his head, especially with his father after he kills his dad, you understand the impact that his dad has had on him from a traumatic experience through his childhood up until after he kills him. It explores so much more depth. I mean, obviously, I liked Peacemaker in Suicide Squad. It's John Cena being goofy.
Yeah.
It was John Cena being goofy. But even this Peacemaker is more fleshed out than anything we got in fucking Suicide Squad. Like, we've really put him under a microscope, and James Gunn has just done a great job of just fleshing out this character. Like, he's a fucking idiot sometimes, but now you have an understanding of why he's like that and why he's so awkward and why he's just, it's so difficult for him to do what he does and go through the days that he has. It's just, again, it's phenomenal story writing, and it's the fact that, again, I don't know if you can convey this stuff in a movie, in
That's
a 2.5 hour movie.
2.5 hours
you
versus
need
8
episodes to really dive into stuff and let somebody like James Gunn, who has just a deft hand, who can tackle all sorts of different themes. He can tackle drama, he can tackle comedy, he can tackle violent. He's just a very talented guy. Like I said, man, I put up a poll on Twitter. I didn't see what the numbers were on it, but I have to
like 86. It was like high 80s, 90 something percent.
Yeah, like the rating I get, but like the more important thing is I seriously want to know, what does everyone think about James Gunn in terms of like his writing? Where does this rank? I mean, obviously, I love him as a director. We know what he can do there, but as a writer, man, is that his true talent? Is it just true talent? I mean, what do you think of it? What do you think of the overall series?
So I had no desire to watch this show at all.
I am one of them with so much like skepticism.
I hated the Suicide Squad, both of them, so much because DC has not put out a decent show since the original Wonder Woman. I just didn't. I thought Wonder Woman was fantastic, and I thought, well, DC's finally turned the corner, going to be like
Wonder
Marvel.
Woman 84.
And then they made that one, and then they made Aquaman, and I'm just like, this is all trash. So then you take a character like Peacemaker from Suicide Squad, and you're like, okay.
You take somebody who like, and I think do you think part of that is because it's John Cena?
No, because I don't know John Cena.
Let me preface that. Let me restate that. when you look at John Cena, you don't think of somebody who would have a terrible amount of range. You think he's a guy who's there to just kill everybody and be a badass. Whereas, like, so immediately you take that, and then you take the fact that Suicide Squad was just kind of a meh movie, and then you get not only get good writing on a James Gunn, but you actually get good acting. This is good acting by John. Now, I'm not going to say you're getting Golden Globes, but this is way more range than I expected out of John Cena.
Well, yeah. So then, of course, listening to you guys and like, oh, you got to watch this show. I'm like, okay, I'm finishing up my other workout show. I'll watch this one as my workout show and be in the cool or whatever. But so I watch it. And I'm like, okay, so this is just going to be goofy, and I'm fine with that. A comedy is a comedy, I'm fine with that. But then you get that first moment where he goes back to his trailer and breaks down, crying, and you're like, I feel that. I feel that hard, that putting on this outside persona and then in your private moments, like just breaking down. I was like, God, that hurts. And then, as you start learning more about what happened with his brother and how big of a tool his dad was. And then that moment when he sits there and he starts playing Home Sweet Home on the piano.
Oh my God.
Which he actually played.
It's him
which he
playing.
actually played. And then the next episode, you see him and his brother sitting in the room, and that's the song that's playing the day that he died. And you're like, holy shit, this is good writing.
Yes.
This is just, because Gunn has a knack, obviously with Guardians of the Galaxy, with mixing the right music for the situation in.
Yes.
And he's done it again with this
He's
show.
so good at it.
And then what's interesting, and I'm going to loop in some Eternals here, because Eternals was a big squad movie, and this was a big squad movie because of Economos and everyone that's in there. When we get to that final episode in this one and stuff starts happening, like, I felt for what was happening, and I was like, no, like, I didn't want anything to happen to that character because I cared about that character, even though I didn't get a whole lot from that character. So then as it wraps up and moved on, and of course they get the song going. We got the full intro song, which I'm surprised Diebeard didn't tell us
with
about,
all the extra lyrics. The whole song.
Yeah, we got the whole thing,
the whole song. Yeah.
But even with the moment with the feeding the last of the stuff to the butterfly, like, just brilliant, well done.
Yeah.
Like, and then we hear we're gonna get a season 2 now.
Yeah, they confirmed that before the final episode even aired. We are going to get a season 2, and dude, like, they really set up everything good with Peacemaker, because even though his dad is dead, he's still very much a part of, like, Peacemaker.
Yeah.
And his psyche and the stuff that he has to deal with internally, his father is going to continue to haunt him, even though he wasn't as haunting as he was the first time he saw him in the woods. But and some people could say that, well, maybe this is just Peacemaker coming to terms. I don't know about that, because of the smirk that his dad had. He's just kind of like smiling, like, yeah, you can't get rid of me. You might be able to shut me down here and there, but I'm still here.
It's trauma.
Yeah, it's trauma. And I feel like that was just so well done. And, again, you get to see Economos. He's going back to the prison to do his job. Hardcore is going to rehab. Ebadiah is back with her wife. And, they're all doing their thing. Now, I don't know what they'll do for season 2, but we do know right now that James Gunn is not only writing every episode, he is directing every episode of season 2. Whereas he kind of handed things off here and there throughout season 1, he is directing every episode of season 2.
Awesome. Sweet.
No, it was a great series, man. I mean, again, this is just something where I would have never guessed if you would have told me last year that Peacemaker is going to be the best DC property right now in terms of its movies and TV shows.
Trailer, and we said this when we first started watching the series, I didn't give two shits. I'm like, fuck Suicide Squad. I don't care about this. Right. I know, and then now here we are, and I'm, it completely changed my mind. And, I know, clearly James had his hand on Suicide Squad. And again, it comes back to that 2.5 hour versus 8 episodes and things like that as well, too. But I also think just him being able to take a character that's so obscure with no real background story can kind of just like let his fucking pen and pencil just flow where they want to, and because it gives him more freedom when it's these episodic kind of things. Whereas, to you looking at Suicide Squad, okay, I got to get here, and here by this time and move on. you can't do the things in that you can in something like this. That's why it was so gripping. So, James, I think at this point, people need to look at this, and clearly HBO has for giving another season, but like, we want James Gunn to do the movies. We want him to do the Guardians of the Galaxy and things like that, or whatever it might be. But maybe people need to start saying, we want to see that guy write some other things too. Let's get him some more. What else can he do?
Right.
He can tell a story and he can develop characters.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we get him out of doing the comedic bits and some of the music stuff. Maybe let's see what kind of horror shit could he do.
I don't know. The music makes such an impact.
And I do agree.
Guardians of the Galaxy is probably one of the best soundtracks outside of Forrest Gump. That
was one of the few soundtracks that I bought in the last decade. Was the original Guardians.
It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm such a huge fan of what they did with this character, and again, to be able to take something like what happened?
No, I'm just saying.
Cherry knows what's up. No, but I think the two takeaways for me right now are just, first of all, James Gunn being able to flesh out a character like Peacemaker who had no business being this fleshed out.
He did that.
And second of all, John Cena's performance has really, I feel like, in my opinion, has taken him to that next echelon of actors. Because honestly, he could have just been a musclehead idiot who just runs on and kills stuff and flex. We got to see some really powerful scenes from. We were like, man, this guy's actually got some fucking range.
It shows now, and we come back again to these guys like look at like The Rock. Look at some of these other guys that come from wrestling that have had pseudo careers. Now, not all of them are going to stick clearly, but it just shows that these guys who are basically wrestling is a theater kind of thing. Like it's an art form. It's acting. It shows that some of these guys do have it. Now, is he The Rock? I'm not saying that, but this gives him more range than he did in Suicide Squad or some of the bits in the movies he's been in. He's been funny in some movies, and we've enjoyed that. This shows that just like people's skepticism with Chris Pratt carrying a movie with the Guardians of the Galaxy and doing things out of his norm, John Cena can clearly potentially carry a TV series. Now, maybe he's going to be packaged into, more some comedic bits or stuff like that. But at this point, I'm kind of curious to see what else he could do potentially. I would be he'd be somebody now after seeing this that you might want to consider giving a chance to, because clearly he's got some range that he hasn't been able to really do.
Slither is fucking amazing.
Slither's amazing.
Jay Hill says the only character's presence that didn't do anything was Judo Master. Didn't feel like he added anything. I'm curious to see if Judo Master's gonna be a big part of season 2.
I feel like there's part of a reason. I think his is coming. I think he was kind of meant to be just kind of. I think
he was more of a bit.
I was just gonna say that I think that character was meant to be a bit, and he was a bit the entire season. But I think they're gonna explore. I got a feeling they're gonna explore that and more. We'll see. But I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely just a fantastic series. And if you guys and girls have not checked it out, please check out fucking Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing,
gnarly.
And guys and gals, that's it. Drasten, you survived your first appearance on B&B, man.
I did. It was a lot of fun.
No, we were really, really happy to have you on, especially because we knew we were going to be talking about a lot of D&D stuff. We knew we were talking about LostArk, and we've always been a fan of what you're doing over on your channel, 7 Dungeons, over on Twitch. Check it out every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Right here. He's also the unofficial pregame show prior to B&B on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the official, unofficial pregame show.
There it is. So. But Drasten, where can we find you on social media? Anywhere out? Facebook, Twitch?
Oh,
Twitter?
we're on it all actually.
Everywhere.
So we have 7 Dungeons is on Facebook.
Right here, the Twitter. At Drasten1 at Twitter.
Yeah, the Twitter. God, we're on Spotify. We're on all that stuff.
You're still waiting on OnlyFans.
And we're there too.
Oh shit!
We do a special program where I roll it like that. You pay the extra money and roll a dice, and I remove.
Okay, whoa!
Whoa!
Easy now.
We an affiliate. Fuck them.
Shit. But no, we're all over, and we appreciate you stopping by.
Spotify, iTunes, you can
all
audio versions of the show.
Yeah,
definitely. You guys and girls, I'm telling you right now, production value is through the roof. Everybody involved, it's genuinely exciting and fun. Will your podcast make me less of a shit DM? Asked Josh Reeves.
I can't guarantee that, but
you can learn.
You can also come over to our Discord. We've got a little section there just for asking like DM questions and things like that, and anything D&D related. Happy to answer stuff there. We're going to be doing And if I don't, Tone will probably kill me. We're going to be doing some more like DM training tips videos for YouTube.
I think that's important because honestly, man, that's the most intriguing element of it for me is when I watch you up there doing your thing. I was like, man, how the fuck does he do this? How does he come up with these storylines? How does he fucking dude? Like, look, man, like you're content creation. You understand how difficult it is to create something, try to make it your own, but to also make it appealing to others.
Right.
And you see the growth that you guys have had, and you see the success that you've had, and it just makes you wonder, like, how fucking goes into that. And I'm sure there's other people out there who are like, man, I love D&D, I love to be a DM, but where the fuck do I start? Make some fucking videos, man, because obviously you're very good at what you do. You're very good at what you do
Thank
with
you.
the DM. You're very good at what you do with content creation. You put together a quality show with good production values. You have people that you have great rapport with. It doesn't hurt to sit there and share your knowledge of what is a very difficult task and give other people's inspiration, like, how can I do what he's doing? I think that's important.
Yeah, we are going to do, we've talked in the group, we're going to do some community one-shots as well this year.
Fuck you. There you go. And if you want to experience it firsthand and you live in the Tri-City area,
or you're visiting,
March 5th and 6th, the Midland Mall Comic-Con. It's happening. It's a real thing. And Drasten's going to be there.
That's right.
Putting together some sessions multiple times throughout. Is it Saturday? You're doing Sunday too, right? Saturday and Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday and Sunday, March 5th and 6th. The Midland Mall Comic-Con strikes back. Drasten's going to be there. Tone and I are going to be there. Boots is going to be there. Gonna be crazy. Gonna be cray.
That's a good question. Is there an admission fee?
Nope.
No admission fee. You just show up, hang out. Now, when we go to the bar, B&B isn't that lucrative yet where we can't pay for everyone's drink. So if we go to the bar afterwards, that's on you.
But if you want to buy us a beer.
But if you want to buy me a beer, that's fine.
Yeah, you can see the damage.
Yeah, RV, get up here.
You buy Tone a beer, you might get hit on. You might not like that. So it's kind of weird.
You will like it.
But Drasten, man, we appreciate you being here, brother. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Man.
Absolutely.
It's been a good time for sure. Tone, is there anything you'd like to add? Other than you're super excited for Chippendale?
I'm, are we talking the Rescue Rangers?
Oh my goodness. Continue, sir.
As always, we appreciate everybody's support. We know it's really random that we were here on a Saturday. It was really just great that you could be here in the area and we could say, hey, let's do a Saturday show and get you on and talk about stuff, right? You have been an integral part of Banter Babble for a while. Clearly, you're the pre-show, unofficial pre-show show, whatever.
Official, unofficial pre-show.
Yeah. So, our community's kind of mixed a little bit as well, too. We do appreciate all you guys, again, of course, being here on a Saturday. It's really random to do this midday. Clearly been doing this for a couple hours now at this point.
Appreciate you, Brian.
For sure, we do appreciate all of that support. Don't forget to follow us on all the social medias, Facebook, YouTube. Go over to YouTube. We're close to that 500 mark. Get a chance. Jump on YouTube and give us that sub. We're getting close to that 500. Find us on Twitter. We do a lot of communication on there, too. Of course, some of you guys out here on Facebook now, which we really appreciate seeing you guys. And on YouTube, clearly on Twitch. We're trying to push hard this year, and you guys have already been doing a great job of that as well, too. If you want to buy some merch and support us, two things you can do. Of course, the merch, like I just said, at the merch store. I don't know if we've got a link for that or if it randomly rotates.
It randomly pops up.
I
got to work on a link.
You got to work on a link.
Hey, you're a creative director. Maybe you should fucking do it.
I write shit. I don't implement it. So, other than that as well, too, we do have a Patreon now as well. So
yes.
Support us there, too. Buy me beer. That's awesome as well. Everything that you do, all the money goes right back into this, whether it's for...
And seriously, shout out to the folks that jumped into the Patreon already.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
We appreciate that support. Big time.
So thank you so much. Just generally just want to thank all of you for always being here and doing things that you do. And, we can't thank you enough, honestly. So with that...
Cherry, if you're watching on Twitch, just go right to the About Us page. It's the first tab right there, Patreon. Click on it, and if you like I said, we'll never sit there and ask y'all to support us, but those that do, we appreciate the support. It goes towards the production.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us be able to get to certain events. It helps us to upgrade things. So we never want to, the thing is, man, and you understand this as you continue to grow your show, we never want to become complacent. We never want to just sit there and Like, hey, we made it. We want to continue to grind. We want to continue to work at it. And we want to make this a show that you want to be a part of and tune into every week. That's why we do what we do, is because you're here every week. And I understand Saturdays doesn't work for everybody. We'll be back Wednesday night. We'll be back to our normal time on Wednesday night this week. And then the following week we're off because we'll be back on Saturday,
so
for the Comic-Con. But after that, we'll be back to Wednesdays. But the other thing I want to mention is, seriously, I can't stress this enough. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, those 5-star reviews help out a ton. We've already got almost 10 reviews on iTunes, a couple of written reviews. Those go a long ways to getting the show more exposure and get it in front of more people. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure, even if you're just watching on Twitch and you have a YouTube account, subscribe. And if you enjoy the show, hit that thumbs up. If you're not ready to give us a thumbs up, or if you're not ready to give us a 5-star review, that's totally cool. No fake like thumbs up or 5-star reviews. Send us feedback. We need to know what we need to do to make this show appealing for all of you. And make sure you tell your friends if they want to hang on a place on Wednesday nights. We got a place for you to hang on Wednesday nights. We get drunk, we talk about all sorts of nerd shit,
Yes.
and we have the occasional sex appeal on. And that's what we do. So
do that for you.
For Fanboytone,
it's party.
For Drasten, I'm the Dude79. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'll be live Monday night with Horizon Forbidden West, live tomorrow night to finish up Guardians of the Galaxy. And then next Wednesday, B&B returns to its Wednesday time slot. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Love y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate you.
Take care.